The Reds are injured and they can't hit, and that's a problem that's months in the making. Let's dive into that and much, much more right now on First Word.
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
Welcome in to First Word. I'm James. I'm Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. Momentarily, we are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on the Crown. And man, oh man, the Reds have been in position over the past 2 days to beat the Brewers twice. And that's what's painful today as we day Wednesday, looking at a Reds team that lost to the Brewers yet again and shut out last night. And they've given up a whopping 4 runs in 2 games. They've been in position to win both of those games, but the bats have failed them. As much as we could talk about Nick Lodolo and him going out and being inconsistent throughout the season, it comes down to one thing over the past 2 days: runs, lack of run support, struggles at the plate, and no one that you can rely on, lean on for that big hit, for that momentum shift, for the home run, for the long ball. And that's the problem. We knew this was coming. The problem last September when the Red season ended. We knew this was a problem in October, in November, in December, in January. And yeah, they went and they got Eugenio Suarez in early February, and it felt like maybe he could be that missing piece, but clearly he isn't. And that's the problem here. As, yeah, we could talk about Nathaniel Lowe and how he's been a nice signing, and J.J. Bleday had a good few months, but he's J.J. Bleday. You didn't sign him to save your lineup. Eugenio Suarez was the big free agent get. It was the one that the front office had to go to ownership and get permission to stretch the budget to bring in what was never enough. It never felt like enough. It always felt like a question mark, and now, over the past couple of games, we should be talking about how the Reds have won their 3rd straight series. We should be talking about how they're 500 and how they're right back in it from a playoff standpoint, from a contention standpoint. And instead, they're just a flawed baseball team whose strength, their pitching, has showed up. They've put themselves in position over the past couple of games to win against an arch rival, against the first-place Brewers. And the hitting, well, it didn't deliver. And that's the problem. No doubt, coming into this season, the Reds starting pitching was going to be their strength. We spent more than a month talking about the bullpen struggling. Well, the bullpen has delivered. The starting pitching has delivered. The bats have not. And that's why the Reds have lost another series to the Brewers. Part of that storyline is obviously Nick Lodolo's injury. We're going to hear from Lodolo coming up in just a bit. Here's Terry Francona on Lodolo, how he's feeling after getting hit with a comebacker in the 4th inning.
There was announced contusion for Lodolo. Can you give us a further update on it?
Yeah, he got hit on the right here on his pitching hand. I mean, even before I left the mound, it was already turning black and blue. And I give him credit. He stayed in, and he wanted to stay in more. I want to make sure I just didn't feel he probably had 1 inning left anyway because his pitch count was pretty elevated. I just didn't feel he was getting stiff as he sat through our side of the inning. If he went out and hurt his shoulder or did something because of that, I'd have a really tough time.
Did he get x-rayed?
Yeah, he's okay. I think Sean thinks as long as they can keep the swelling out of there and doesn't show up tomorrow in worse shape, he should be okay for his next start, but we'll certainly keep our eyes on him.
Hits for you guys have obviously been at a premium last couple nights. What have you seen from how the Brewers are attacking the Raiders?
Well, tonight it's different some nights. I mean, different arsenals. You know, they're getting their fastballs by us, and then it seems like when we start to try to cheat their fastball, then it comes a breaking ball, and we're not hitting either one. They got a lot of good arms we saw tonight. You know, and if we get a lead, maybe we quit seeing those same guys.
And the lack of runs, is your margin for error so slim right now that the 2 runs they got were on 2 plays that perhaps could have been made?
Yeah, The one down the right field line, I didn't. It's hard for me to get a good look at that. I know it went around the bend there, and Noelve didn't get it. It's really hard for me to see that from where I'm sitting. I think if he comes up with that clean, they don't score there.
Has it felt like velocity has been something giving your guys' offense trouble?
Yeah.
How do you kind of go about addressing that?
Well, I mean, when you say address it, I mean, they know, and you can't beat them over the head with it. But we have the machine set up. We have the whatever that thing. Yeah, guys use that all the time. So they're working on it.
Also, what would you like to see Arroyo kind of clean up defensively to be more consistent at second base?
Well, he's just got to remember to move his feet. That was not his error. That was they had called catcher's interference. But to your point, he just got to move his feet. When he moves his feet, his arm angle gets back up where it needs to be, and actually has really good carry.
The Reds are a flawed baseball team, and you heard it there. As Terry Francona was explaining things, he's asked about a bunch of different things, including the fielding and all these different. Look, the bottom line is the Reds pitching has put them in position against a team that has had their number. The Reds at home against the Brewers are 12-35 in the Zach Taylor era. That means since 2019, 12-35. They've stunk against the Brewers. And the past couple of games, the pitching staff put them in position to win. The hits, well, they're just not there. They haven't happened, and that's the real downside. Another one of the downsides is Nick Lodolo. And getting him back was big. It felt like it was going to be big, and he's had an up-and-down return from that blister. It stinks, guys, because I did think he was pitching pretty good. His pitch count was high, but he was pitching pretty well. And so for him to go out, have that come back on him in the fourth inning. I know Terry Francona sounded optimistic. We'll hear from Nick Lodolo as well. I think that puppy's going to be pretty darn sore today.
Yeah, I would certainly imagine so. And early in that game, it looked like old Lodolo. It looked like the version of Nick Lodolo that is dominant on the mound, that Reds fans had come to expect over the last few years. And the X-rays came back negative, which are certainly a good sign in terms of the throwing risk for Lodolo. But it's something that I was shocked he stayed in the game when he did. I thought he was going to be pulled as soon as they came out and took a look. And I think it kind of left my mind. And then he ended the inning, and I didn't really think much of it. But certainly is a huge issue for this Reds team, and on the precipice of being healthy for the first time in such a long time. And then Lodolo takes that off his wrist and feels like, just again, this team can't catch a break.
Right, and it's just been so frustrating because you brought it up. When the bullpen and the starting pitching are struggling a little bit, at least there was some offensive production. Well, now the starting pitching and the bullpen has seemingly been okay, and the bats can't get going. And so if you had told me that the Reds had held the Brewers to 4 runs through 2 games, I would have thought at minimum this team was 1-1 in this series, let alone being 0-2. And especially given these 2 games have kind of made history for Milwaukee, becoming just the second team in MLB history to allow just 4 hits, 0 earned runs, no walks, 27 Ks over a 2-game span. The other time it happened, Milwaukee in 2020. So don't love that stat. And yeah, this Reds team just kind of making these Brewers pitchers all look like all-stars right now.
The Brewers are lucky I like spotted cow and cheese curds, because otherwise I would really hate them. But I actually like Wisconsin and like that. You know, I had a good time in Milwaukee on my way to Green Bay last fall. But like 4 runs, I would have bet a lot on them being 2-0. Especially you get Elly back, and it's just, I go back to when they struggle at the plate and they've been so inconsistent. It's like, well, yeah, J.J. Bleday is J.J. Bleday. He's not going to save your season. He's been good. But we knew he was going to get cold at some point. Nathaniel Lowe, I'd like him hitting lower, 7th, and instead in this lineup, it is what it is. Like, the bullpen, I could see it on paper where they'd be competent. The starting rotation, we'll get into Hunter Green. It's very clear how this could be a great starting rotation. The path to these bats being, like this lineup being really good, even though every 5th day you think they're good, Jacob, is so unrealistic, especially now. I wish they had realized they needed to add more or been aggressive enough to add more, because I think deep down they knew they didn't.
And I think that's where, the frustration comes from a lot of times, is that with the bullpen, it's injuries, and with the starting rotation, you don't have the guys you planned on. But even if everything went according to plan, I don't know what the route was for the Reds to be competitive offensively this year. It's an extreme emergence from Elly, which I guess we kind of saw through the first half of this year before he got hurt, giving them what they need. It's getting incredibly lucky with non-roster invitees like Nathaniel Lowe and a DFA like JJ Bleday, and then hoping all these young guys play well beyond what they've done already in their career. And it just seems like a lot of hope and prayer instead of actual additions to make the lineup better on paper. And the real frustrating thing is it feels like that's been a theme for the last however many years. And it's never been, the front office has never taken that step to truly add to this roster and surround Elly De La Cruz and Matt McLain and these exciting young prospects with pieces to take everything off their plate. And that's what we were talking about after that Yankees series. All the pressure has been on these 20-something-year-olds since they came up to be the engine of this team. There's been no veteran presence since Joey Votto retired. There's been no consistency in this lineup outside of an Elly De La Cruz, really. And Sal Stewart's a rookie. He's the second most consistent bat in this lineup so far this year. You're putting so much on these guys' plates and asking them to perform so well so early that it's just not fair. The teams that win with exciting young prospect-filled cores surround them with veteran presence to supplement that. And the thing with the Reds is if you're not going to supplement this kind of prospect core, when does that happen? Because Elly De La Cruzes don't just grow on trees.
They don't. And one of the ways I thought, the creative mind in me, we've talked about this a few times, is if Lodolo pitches well and Green comes back and Singer turns it around, maybe you have this plethora, maybe you take from this starting group and find another bat and go that route. Well, Lodolo, if he's hurt, that cancels that out, certainly with the trade deadline next month. Here's what Nick Lodolo had to say in the clubhouse after the game, after getting hit by the comebacker and leaving after the fourth inning.
And just went totally numb because I was thinking about going to pick up the ball and I couldn't feel my hand. So yeah, never been hit like that in the wrist. So yeah.
Terry mentioned you wanted to keep going. How did you take that decision ultimately from him?
Yeah, I mean, I know where he was coming from. I wanted to keep going for sure, but I was glad I got to finish the inning at least. But yeah, when I came in, he was pretty adamant that I wasn't going back out.
How were you able to get out of that inning?
Honestly, I kind of just blacked out. Yeah, made some good pitches. I think I got 2 strikeouts there, and those were pretty big. And then, just kind of came back on Sanchez there, and not in a great spot with him up there, but got out of it.
I know you've never been through this before. What do you foresee the next few days to be, and do you think you can make it next time out?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. If there's nothing wrong with it, other than just some swelling and stuff like that. So, I think the plan is to get that out of there and go from there.
Where exactly did it get you?
Right on the bone on the side of my wrist. Yeah.
Disappointment. You obviously were having a good start. You faced the minimum until the 4th inning. You were trucking along. Did you feel pretty good going into the inning?
Yeah, felt great. Been working this week a lot with Oscar and Tracy on some mechanical things to get back to where I want to be. And I felt like today was definitely a step in the right direction with that. So we just got to keep working with that and pick it back up.
And here's a look at the comebacker that got Lodolo there. Just painful and just awful luck, and it happens. And he's tough as nails to be able to stay in there and finish the inning. Surprised, honestly, that they did that, and surprised that he was able to do it. Hopefully he can make his next start. I'm nervous about that. It's one thing to be an hour or two removed from that versus how he's going to be feeling this morning when he wakes up with us on First Word.
Oh, yeah, and 107 miles an hour coming off the bat there with the ball that hit him. I think he's very fortunate and lucky that nothing was broken and the X-rays came back, positive.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they are after the exit velocity and really landing flush on the wrist. And I think there's a lot of encouraging things to take from yesterday from the pitching staff. Yes. If Lodolo doesn't leave that game with an injury, because it's one of the best starts we've seen from him in some time now, and Petty continues to be a viable piece out of this bullpen. And going back to what you were saying, James, the strength they've had in this rotation, if healthy, with the excess of arms, has allowed them to use Petty in the bullpen for the time being, and he seems to be a real piece in the back end of that bullpen right now.
He does, and that's what's so frustrating about this is 3 hits, 4 runs.
Yeah.
You've given up 4 runs, you've had 3 hits. You had left 1 on base. You're not getting on base. You're not threatening the Brewers in a series that's right there because of this rotation, because of this bullpen that's been beat up. We've been critical of them and well-deserved, and yet they were in possession. And unfortunately for the Reds, they've dropped 2 straight to the Brewers, 4-1. How are you only going to score 1 run in 19 innings? And yet,
And it wasn't even a real run.
No, you had a runner
It's
on
the Manfred
second.
runner.
That's right. Not even a real run. We need real runs. We'll continue the Reds conversation and much, much more. While You Slept is next, right here on First Word.
Emotionally, spiritually, like I love football till the death of me. Like this is I don't say it's what I feel like it is what I'm called to do. But last year it was hard. It was extremely hard. Like it was days where, like I said, like I'm in the building at 6 a.m. drawing up plays, preparing for the Miami Dolphins because they have a really complex offense. I'm just like, dang, I cannot figure this out. Because like they do a lot of stuff with their fullbacks, and like I said, I've never seen a fullback in my life up until last year. So last year was the hardest year of my life. But thinking about like where I am right now, it's like I said, it's night and day. But like I'm so confident because of what I went through last year, and I would go home like last year. I'm just like, dang, like this is tough. But like I'm trying to be a leader. I'm obviously not trying to show that to the guys, like, because I love playing football. I love where I am. I love being in Cincinnati. I love the guys that I get to go to work with. But it was a long year, and I just try to show up every single day with the right mindset and be the leader that I was brought here to be. And but it was a tough year. But thinking about this year, oh my gosh, I literally. I have a smile on my face the whole time I'm in the building. Like, and that's gonna. I know it's easy to say in June, but I'm gonna have that until February. Truly, like, I'm so confident this year, so much more confident. So it's gonna be fun. Still have a long way to go, but we're trending in the right direction.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Welcome into First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Make sure you check us live on YouTube, live on X, on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network as well. And of course, you can listen live on Mixler and check out all of The Crown programming, including the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, noon to 1, every single weekday. Let's dive into the Cincinnati Reds and talk about a Reds team that, let's be honest here, if you would have told me on Sunday, hey, they beat the Yankees, they took 2 of 3, and they're only going to give up 4 total runs against the Brewers in the first 2 games of the series, well, I would have said, man, they might win their 3rd straight series. We might be talking about playoffs and back in the division a bit. They'd only be 6.5 out had they won these past 2.
Mean a lot.
It would feel a lot different than it does today.
Yeah, and if they got a run for every hit over the last 2, they still wouldn't have won the last 2. So it's been absolutely brutal for the Reds. Yeah,
maybe they should use an oar.
It's a problem. And the question was posed in the chat, what's worse, having a bad offense or a bad bullpen? Reds fans have lived through weeks of both, and I'm not entirely sure. Because I wanted to go that way, because when the pitching staff goes out there and allows 2 runs and you can't win a game, that's frustrating. But the month where the Reds had 1-run leads in the 9th and you could never win one of those games was frustrating too. So the Reds have taken the 2 worst routes in terms of the shortcomings of the team this year so far, offensively and bullpen, and I just don't know the map to have it all come together at this point. The thought was always health, and it seems like even when they get close, it just unravels again.
Very, very frustrating. Reds need to figure something out, and especially at the top of the lineup. Over the last 2 games, the 1 through 4 hitters are a combined 1 for 28. That 1 hit coming as a pinch hit off the bench by Dane Myers.
Dane, thank you, Dane. Can you imagine if it was over 28?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't have been good.
I can't imagine, which is sad that I can't imagine. You know, like it.
Yeah.
Dane saves the day from that being an even uglier stat. And that's it, is losing to the Brewers. Well, we're used to that. I had the stat last 12 and 35.
47 and 19 against the Reds or the Brewers since 2022.
Yeah.
And 47 and 19.
And 12 and 35 at home.
Yeah.
Like, we're used to that. But most of the team put you in position, and unfortunately they didn't take advantage. The Reds dropped back-to-back games to the Brewers. They'll try to salvage it today. One of the main storylines is going to be Nick Lodolo. He got hit. He was pitching well, had 6 strikeouts through 4 innings, but had to leave in the 4th inning, or after the 4th inning, rather, after getting hit by this comebacker. And man, it's one of those things. He says he's probably not going to miss a start. The X-rays are negative, but I don't know. You'll watch this, and you mentioned the 107 miles per hour, just the velocity off the bat, painful. We'll see if he'll actually be able to pitch through it and not miss a start.
Yeah, very fortunate that nothing is broken and the X-rays came back fine. I think I would be stunned if he doesn't miss any time.
I was stunned that he stayed in the game. I mean, just the reaction there, throw the glove off, walk to the third baseline, obviously in pain. I was shocked he stayed in the game and was able to get through the inning without allowing a run. So, I mean, a great outing from Nick Lodolo, obviously marred by the injury, and that's what everyone's going to be looking for updates today. And if we get him before 11, we'll certainly bring him to you. But Nick Lodolo, no broken bones on the X-ray, but it's your pitching wrist. I don't really understand how he could possibly not miss a start, but the Reds would be incredibly lucky if that's the case.
Yep, no doubt about it. The good news is, on one hand, Hunter Green improving and getting better, love it. On the other hand, I'm like, well, that's not their issue, so what's going to happen, even if Lodolo does stay healthy? But good news on the Hunter Green front, he made a start for AAA Louisville and pitched pretty darn well. There's a look at the standings, by the way, 11.5 back. I mean, they let him off the hook, because I misspoke. They could be 7.5 back had they handled business the past 2 games. They would be 39 and 39. It would just feel much, much different. Instead, well, they're 37 and 41, really, really struggling. If they were 39 and 39, Hunter Green coming back, like, you would just be able to easily see the path.
it would feel much, much different.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday after the show. The chance for the Reds to really have a huge buy-in here was to fight back, get above 500 or get around 500, activate Hunter Green. A lot of people would get excited about that move, and then you have a chance to get over the hump there in the month of July. But now you keep letting these losses these wins just fall through your fingers and turn into losses. And that's with a Reds team that has no margin for error. When you get outings like this, you have to turn them into wins, and they've just been completely unable to. The Brewers have now won 14 of the last 15 series against the Cincinnati Reds.
That should be impossible in professional baseball. Like impossible. And yet, very much possible. We'll see how quickly Hunter Green can come up. We're going to hear from Elly De La Cruz in a second. But Hunter Green goes to Louisville. Nice rehab appearance. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 54 pitches, 36 strikes. He was going to throw between 70 and 75. Ended up throwing 54, but the 4 innings, the 2 hits, the 3 strikeouts, no runs. I would take that all day long. Mm-hmm. On paper, you're like, all right, box checked, mission accomplished for Hunter Green.
Absolutely thrilled about Hunter, both of these rehab starts. And I know it's AAA, and I know it's not MLB bats, but analytically, this was one of the best starts of Hunter's career for his splitter. His splitter looked phenomenal last night, over 50% whiff rate. He's never had that with a third pitch in his arsenal. So the expansion of Hunter Green through this time to get maybe even better is great to see, and hopefully he can continue to work back and be healthy.
Gabe, put the graphic up. Hunter Green, one of the best starts of his career.
For his splitter.
I know. Oh, yeah. Break down the numbers again there.
It's really, really good. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the whiff rate was really, really high, and it's a pitch that he hasn't used a ton in his career. So to continue to expand his arsenal. He was very similar to Chase Burns when he came up in the conversation of fastball slider needing to expand, and he continues to do that.
Is he the one throwing to the Reds, too? Is that why they can't get a hit? Is that slider is just messing with, is that it?
Anyone can strike out
Whiff
the
rate
Reds.
is crazy. Well, yeah, it's because the Reds are... No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's... This courtesy of Fox 19. Hunter Green, after his rehab appearance in AAA Louisville, sounding optimistic, and this is certainly a big step in the right direction.
Felt great. Felt strong. Felt really good with all of my pitches. Felt consistent. Felt like I was constantly in the attack mode, which is good, and felt like I was ready to go and compete today. Yeah, it's really just feel of pitches. I think the most important thing coming back with rehab is getting into that competitive mode and being able to flip that switch. Especially in rehab, you can get really internal. You can think, is my elbow going to feel good? Is my knee going to feel good? Back, whatever it may be. But you lose sight of like that external focus of I'm just trying to attack the hitter. So other than feeling good and my pitches feeling good, that was my main objective, was to make sure I was fully present and attacking from the first pitch to the very last.
If there is reason for optimism, that's it, right? Is Hunter Green's coming back. The pitching is starting to come around, even if Lodolo misses some time. But guess what? Hunter Green is getting closer, and this needs to be their strength. This is what's going to carry them. It certainly isn't going to be their hitting. We know that. Even if they do win games, it's not going to be most of the time because of their hitting. So good news that Hunter Green is coming around.
And that's the thing with Hunter really this whole time. It's been a long road back from the elbow surgery in March, but there have been no setbacks. He stayed on the same trajectory the whole way. Both of his rehab starts have looked solid so far. So really nothing but great news about Hunter Green since that injury happened, and just staying on this trajectory, and he'll be back hopefully sooner rather than later.
Well, hopefully. Speaking of back, Elly De La Cruz was back. It didn't lead to run production for the Cincinnati Reds, but he did talk before the game, and I do think it's pretty noteworthy to hear from Elly. And the surprising thing, whatever you want to say, started it short. Mm-hmm. Not that he was hitting in the second spot, just started it short. So before we dive into that and react to it, here's Elly De La Cruz before the 2-0 loss to the Brewers yesterday.
I just want to make sure I'm good to go out there and try to help the team win.
What gives you confidence the team can still make the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a solid team. We got a pretty good team, and if we stay together, we can make it.
How much does it help that Hunter's pitching in Louisville tonight? He could be back soon. Emilio could be back soon as well.
Yeah, we definitely need those guys, but we gotta keep fighting. With those guys here, we still gotta keep fighting and play together.
Terry said that he had to hold you back a little bit because he wanted to come back earlier than expected. What were those conversations like?
Yeah, I wanted to get back quick. It wasn't fun not playing, but they know what they're doing. You got to trust them.
When you watch the team, being around, watching them maybe lose some games and not being able to help, how did that make you feel watching your teammates?
It doesn't feel good because I wanna be there and try to help the team win. And whenever you can, it doesn't feel good. It's not fun.
Do you feel like your rehab games gave you everything you needed to know that you're okay?
Yeah.
That courtesy of our friends from Fox 19. Look, Elly De La Cruz being back, it didn't help. Honestly, it didn't help the lineup, but you need 44 out there. Certainly, if you're going to be able to generate any kind of offense, and we'll see how they handle him today because he did play shortstop.
I think we were all surprised that he was at short. We kind of were under the assumption that, you DH him last night, have him play short today with the off day coming on Thursday. So I'm very intrigued as to what Francona is going to end up doing. Is he going to go out short back-to-back nights? Is he going to DH? And then you have 2 days off from in the field. So lots to kind of play with. But at the end of the day, I know he went, 0 for 3 last night, but always great to have Elly back in the lineup.
Yeah, certainly surprised to see him at short. But if he DHs today, I'll say it's about a wash because it was still 1-1. But definitely a shock to see that. And I think it goes back to kind of what I was saying yesterday, where they're not going to activate him from the injured list unless they're confident he can play shortstop. So then if he can play shortstop, you might as well play him at shortstop. I thought another side of that coin that was pretty interesting was that Edwin Arroyo started at second base, and Matt McClain was the one on the bench. I think a lot of us, guessed that Arroyo would be the odd man out in that situation, at least early, since McClain has played second so much, obviously, in his career. But Arroyo, the error last night, struggled a little bit at second, but he has been such a great glove in his career throughout the minors that I do think this is the middle infield of the future. So I'm really interested to see how they use Matt McClain throughout these next few weeks as Elly is maybe playing shortstop every day, maybe having some DH spots. We'll be interested to see how that all develops.
Yeah, no doubt. We have some news that Jacob certainly was interested in yesterday. Brendan Sorsby, well, not NFL bound after all. After trying to apply for the NFL supplemental draft, the league informing him and his representatives, hey, no supplemental draft, we're not going to hold one. And this was reported yesterday afternoon after we went off the air. But it's a really interesting thing where Sorsby's people says, hey, we're going to join with the NFLPA that he's not a part of, and we're going to sue. Meanwhile, the NFL says, hey, Brendan, good luck next year. Maybe you can be in the draft next season.
He's going to sue his prospective employer with a players' association he's not a part of because they violated a CBA he's not protected by. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I don't think that lawsuit really has many legs to stand on there, and I would imagine Sorsby doesn't play competitive football in any kind of high league in 2026, which is a great thing for the sport. I think when you bet on your sport, it should be done right there. I've said it from the beginning. It was great that college football made this stance, and it's great that the NFL is standing with them, because the big thing for me in conversations like this is if the NFL lets Sorsby in right now and lets him play this year, you're completely undermining the fact that he did anything wrong in college football by giving him the easy out to go play professional ball. So I love that the NFL did this. I think it's absolutely the right decision, and I think it's even more interesting that they continue to say he's prepping for possible entry into the 2027 draft. They didn't say entry at any point in that letter. So we'll see about eligibility when that rolls around as well.
I'd be surprised. Who knows? I'd be surprised if they just completely ban him forever. I think at some point he'll have his chance if he handles this correctly. And that's the part where if you kick and scream during this, well, then the NFL's going to be like, well, you're not showing us up.
Right.
And so if I'm him, I would certainly look in the mirror a bit. Albert Breer reporting that Sorsby's lost about $4 million already. Had he played at Texas Tech, played well, been a top pick, well, then he could have made another $30, $40, $50 million. Yeah. So Sorsby has lost a lot of money over the past few months. Speaking of money, Kyle Pitts, well, he got paid. And man, oh man, we talked about him a few weeks ago. This idea that, could he get a new, end up in a new team because he was in that franchise tag year? Well, 3 years, $54 million, $36 million guaranteed. It's the largest 3-year contract for a tight end in NFL history. Kyle Pitts, Falcons, together for at least the next 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think this might squash your dreams of the Bengals trading for him.
Yeah, it's over now. It's long over. We timed out the Pitts hypothetical and the Sorsby hypothetical very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pat us on the back.
No.
We timed those out very, very darn well here on First Word.
Great. Yeah, Pitt's now the third highest paid tight end in football behind Kittle and Trey McBride. That's a tier I think a lot of people may be surprised to see him in, but I forget who it was, someone tweeted it last night, and it's when a great player is supposed to be great and they end up being good, it's really hard to wrap your head around the fact that they did end up being good. And I think that's where Kyle Pitts lies in this whole thing. He was a generational tight end prospect coming out of Florida. He was picked a pick ahead of Jamar Chase in the draft, and he's never quite turned into that player.
Yeah.
But he's still really, really good and probably worth this contract in the grand scheme of things. He's their wide receiver too, for all intents and purposes, after they let Darnell Mooney go this year. So I think it's a great contract for Atlanta, and I think it's smart to keep him around.
I get it. I totally understand it, especially if you have a young quarterback, and right now it's Michael Penix, Tua, or whoever they end up. Brendan Sorsby next year. You never know what it's going to be, right? But from that perspective, it makes a ton of sense. All right, I know Marisa wants to talk that soccer, so go highlight the World Cup here while you sleep.
We were wondering when Cristiano Ronaldo would score in the World Cup, but we finally got to see that last night. He having a brace, becoming the first men's player to now score in 6 different World Cups. Major accomplishment by Ronaldo. And another just one of those weird stats I came across. The longest time ever between a player's first and the latest World Cup goal, Ronaldo, 20 years and 11 days now after scoring last night. Messi, 20 years and 11 days. The fact that they both, to the day, it's just, I don't know if we're ever going to see anything like this again in the sport. And the fact that we get to watch both of them now at the World Cup. And also, guys, the way things are kind of shaking out, Argentina and Portugal could end up meeting in the next round.
Give me that. Give me that right now. We're pre-gaming that one. Let's go. You in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. We will do that. Up next, though, we have plenty of Bengals on the docket, including schedule game, Eric Gall, and much, much more right here on First Word.
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for the Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
What was your first impression when you got to meet Dex, and what has it been like getting to work with him now in practice?
Right, so him being a Clemson guy, the best school in the country, by the way. I met him a few years back. I remember he was just walking in the building, and I saw him. I was like, wow, like that was my first time seeing him. I was like, that's a large man. Pause, but. And then I was on the pickleball court when the news broke, and I remember I screamed. I hit a ball over the fence just out of excitement, and I was so happy because literally that day my parents and I were talking about can we get Dex? And I was like, I mean, I don't know, anything can happen, but I wasn't too sure about it. So when I saw the news broke, I did not believe it. I ran around, I screamed. Like I said, I hit a ball over the fence, and I was just like, let's do it. Like it's super exciting to see, them bring in a guy like that, like who Dex is. We know what he can do on the field. He's obviously elite. He's been doing great things since he stepped into the league, but who he is as a person, and like, oh my gosh, he's the best he's one of the best teammates I've ever had in my life, and I've known him or played with him for 2 months. Like, it's truly a blessing to, have him in front of me, pause again. But just to, have a guy like that in the locker room. So it's been great with him.
What?
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
It is schedule game time here on First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot and Marisa Contipelli. And boy, oh boy, we round out the desk here today. I've done the schedule game. Marissa's done the schedule game. It is almost time for Jacob to do the schedule game. And just a reminder, we will post all three on our YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button, join the First Word movement and the 6,000 plus Bengals fans. And honestly, hundreds of thousands of Bengals fans and Cincinnati sports fans that have watched us over the past few weeks.
Yeah, one-stop shop. Everything you need at the First Word YouTube. So make sure you subscribe and join us in the chat. The chat's a good time during the live show.
The chat is always fun during the live show. And this is what's going to be fun because I've waited to put out the schedule games until all three of us did them. The response, because I'm sure you're like, well, what was Marissa's? Well, we'll post that later this week. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure fans are going to be eager to watch mine again.
2-15 is crazy.
I know.
I can't believe she did.
I like the additions on
What do you mean?
defense.
0-17. Yeah.
Well, tanking for Jeremiah.
You know who the best player in the draft was? Jeremiah Love.
Oh, you've been waiting like weeks to say that again, haven't you?
It hurts.
It's been a while.
It hurts. Arizona buried.
It's a tough one.
That's a cuff to the Kings. Like, it's very much.
We'll get into
love
the
to
NBA draft in a bit.
Brutal. Anyways, let's dive into Jacob's schedule game. Make your picks, my man.
I wanted to have the Bengals break the franchise record. I really did, and they might. So going through so far, it starts off ugly. It starts off ugly with 0-2, and that's just the reality of the situation. The Bengals start slow a lot. The Tampa Bay Bucks have some weapons, exciting pieces on their team, and it's going to be a loss in week one. It's tough to swallow. And the Texans have one of the most exciting defenses in the league. I think that's a tough one on the road.
Glad we're aligned there on the side of the desk.
This is ridiculous.
Then the Bengals take a lead. 3 wins in a row gives you a 3-2 record there, 3-2 record there going into the bye, and then rounding out that first column, it gets ugly again with a loss to the Ravens, and then 2 more wins, including a win in Madrid before the primetime slate truly begins on November 15th against the Steelers. So starting off on that left side, it's a pretty tough start to the schedule. Bengals pick up some losses early, but you're in a decent spot rolling into that second column.
Yeah, I guess. The 0-2 start, man.
It's tough to swallow.
What are you doing, man? What are you doing? What are you both doing over there?
Look, the contract stuff in Tampa made me almost change that one. Almost. But not quite. The Bengals have proven time and time again that they're going to start slow, and they're not going to look like the final versions of themselves in week one. And if they're wearing all orange, they'll certainly lose. So as long as the Bucks come in and play a relatively good game, I think the Bengals probably lose a close one there.
And I will say it, I would love for them to prove me wrong, but I am with Jacob on this one. And then, like you said, Houston has a good defense. First road game, Houston really good at home last year.
Yeah.
Gabe, clip this. Aaron, clip it twice. This idea over here of the desk, 0-2. We will make a wager much, much closer to the season. There's zero chance they start 0-2.
Zero chance.
Zero.
Do you think I will be betting on the Buccaneers in week 1? No, I simply think they're going to win.
And I'm telling you they're not going to win.
I hope you're right.
And if that does happen, then Joe and the Bengals are going to go kick the snot out of the Texans and that defense that's so good. Clip it. That's why I want you to clip that part. Because everyone's scared of the Texans, and I picked them to lose to the Texans. But I ain't scared of them. If they're 0-1, then they're going to go to Houston and handle business.
Hope you're right. That would certainly be great. No 1-2 start would have me freaking out a little bit over here.
A little.
A little bit. Not a lot.
No, you would be a lot freaking
well,
out.
No, I was going to say a little bit at 0-2, and then 3-3 is when I would really be freaking out. A 3-3 record there would be even worse than 0-2, I think.
All right, well, let's see what the second half of your schedule
Rolling into the second half after Madrid. Gets tough for the Bengals. A lot of primetime games loaded up there in the back half of the schedule, and coming back from Madrid, take a tough loss to the Steelers in primetime. That's going to be a really brutal game to come back, no bye after Madrid, and then you lose again to the Commanders. It's a tough back-to-back stretch there in primetime, but the Bengals and Joe Burrow do what we know the Bengals and Joe Burrow can do, and that's round this season out with a nice old win streak.
Oh.
What?
7 straight
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right.
Well, the best part about this one is that Browns
write the total.
That Browns win at the bottom. That's Joe Flacco.
Oh, 12-5. Oh man, I need you to.
Woo, that dash was brutal.
Yeah, that dash was
12-5 for the Bengals. 1 win away from the franchise record.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that. You know what? If they do that win streak at the end, and you're right after week 3, they'll get the record because they're not starting 0-2.
I hope so.
I think the streak for 2 months is a bit wild.
Yeah, it is. It is, but I think it's feasible. That back half of the schedule is relatively easy after you get through those primetime games. They're going to be favored in every single one of those games. Maybe the Chiefs win, depending on what happens by the time we get there. That's a very, very close spread right now. But Saints, Browns, Panthers, Colts, Browns again. I can't even really talk myself into them losing those games if they play good Bengals football at that point in the season, which they usually do towards the end. So they're significantly better than a lot of those teams. I think a lot of the coin flip games early I gave to the other team out of a vote of fairness there to not give the Bengals 17-0. That would have been a little bit crazy, but I think 12-5 is a nice middle ground here.
A nice middle ground, 7 straight to end the season. What are your takeaways from that 12-5 schedule game for Jacob?
I like it. 12-5 would be a great record. We're very aligned on the first half. I see a hard time winning 7 straight, though. I mean, obviously the Bengals have done it before. Joe's so strong in November and December, but even so, I mean, I feel like one of those games and there's going to be a
Joe's only winning 6 straight. They lock up the division after they beat the Ravens, and then Flacco gets it done.
Yeah. Lock up the division with 2 seed?
Yeah.
2 seed at 12-5. Interesting.
Take it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 12-5, you take it and you run. In hindsight, 0-2, we're going to be limping hard if that's the case.
Yeah, I'd be real sad.
Yeah,
real sad.
No chance. Clip it again. No chance to start 0-2. All right, that is the schedule game. We'll post all of those if you're just joining us on our YouTube channel. First Word Cincy. Up next, we'll continue the football conversation as we roll on right here on First Word.
So you've worked out so far for Charlotte, Sacramento, and Toronto, right? Those are the 3 you've done. So Charlotte, Sacramento, Toronto, take us through what a workout looks like, right? You post your jersey, post the practice jersey, you say another one, and you have the opportunity to go work out in front of those teams. But, what does that workout look like? What do these teams want to see out of you?
So basically like a day, just, a day going to a workout, leaving the hotel probably between 7 and 7:45 in the morning, get into the arena, eating breakfast, and then, you get measurements, you get testing, you go through the whole combine testing. And I feel like I was very disrespected not getting any combine invite. I felt like I was the only first team Big East guy to not get a combine invite, which I thought was crazy. Just add more fuel to the fire. Does that okay? Like, I didn't need a reason, but you just gave me another reason to prove who I am. So I was like, all right, bet. So I have to go through combine testing every workout that I go to because I didn't have the numbers at the combine, so I have to do it every single time. And I just had to keep my body in like peak physical shape to, improve my numbers each workout. So you go through the combine testing and then you go through like another warm up. And then each team is a little bit different in how they do their workouts. With Charlotte, you did a lot more drills at the start. And then playing at Toronto, it was mostly just playing. Like you shot, like you're shooting and then you're playing. At the Kings, kind of like Charlotte, but it was less drills and a lot more playing. You're playing out of like concepts, you're playing with dribble limits, 10-second shot clock, 5-second shot clock, it's all these things. So every team is different, but it's mostly just, they want to see like who you are as a person. They want to see like, are you really, a dog? Like, even if you're not making shots, like they just want to see like the type of person you are, the type of player you are. Like, are you what the film says you are? And they just want to be either proved right or proved wrong.
Think it's too big of a deal?
I'm going to raise my hand. All right. Permission to speak. Did he or did he not get excited when Joe was putting that extra work in on Monday?
Oh, it was
great.
The happiest I think I've seen him like all week.
For 45 minutes of extra.
It was awesome.
Right now, you can just tell.
You could have put the normal amount of work in the next 2 days. Just if I'm looking at it for
if
argument's
Joe
sake,
wanted to throw the next 2 days, he would throw the next 2 days.
But he clearly wanted to throw more because he stayed after and threw.
And he did.
And he threw yesterday.
Joe wants to work.
He can throw.
I'm just saying.
I'm sure he will throw over the next 6
Do you
weeks.
think Joe really wanted to cancel minicamp early?
No, probably not. But I would imagine that he's fine with it, or it wouldn't have been canceled.
Oh, you think? I don't know about that. I don't think Zach's like, hey.
Not just. I just. This is a hard thing to not have a conversation with anyone on the team about, though, right?
Sure, like vibes-wise, we got everything we need to get done. That stuff.
That's what I mean.
Oh, sure. Not asking for permission.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was gonna say that didn't happen.
Please. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. But it's a collaborative conversation between the players that have been deemed the leaders of the team. I would hope that for any organization across any professional league, honestly, at this point, if you're giving these guys captain's patches on their jerseys, they should have meetings and conversations about this kind of stuff. So I would imagine that there was at least some kind of collaboration there to come to this conclusion, and
First word rolls on and plenty to get to, including in 8 minutes. A way too optimistic outlook and prediction for Jamar Chase. Fair, foul, high, low. Plenty to get into when it comes to Jamar Chase. You didn't even know where I was going to go there.
No.
All over the place. We've run like 4 times. How about that? We did. You could try to play catch up all you want. But that coming up in a few. Before we do that, though, we got to talk about a poll question that I hope you paid attention to. I know Marisa saw it. I know Marisa saw the revamped poll question.
Oh, yeah, I retweeted it.
Okay. Yeah, I know. That's how I knew it. I was like, oh, Marisa. Did the NFL get it right when they declined to hold a supplemental draft for Brendan Sorsby? That is the what's the word poll question of the day. And the results, well, not shocking here. 81.4% of you, yes, the NFL got it right. He bet on his team. And then, no, they should hold a supplemental draft. 18.6% of you on that side of it. So roughly a fifth, which is interesting, at least to me, comparable to like the fifth of the people when we were talking about should the Bengals consider a day 3 pick. Mm-hmm. And so roughly 20% of the First Word viewing audience at First Word Cincy on X think that the NFL should hold a draft.
Yeah, I think a lot of the pushback or a lot of the conversation around them canceling the draft is that It's not a decision the NFL should have made. They should have given the decision to the owners to whether to draft him or not. And that seems to be, not to speak for all 19% there, but that seems to be the main pushback to the cancellation of the draft here. And what I would say to that is, why doesn't the NFL have the decision? Every single lettering in any kind of rule book about the supplemental draft is that the discretion is left up to the NFL. So if they deem it unnecessary to hold a supplemental draft, don't hold the draft.
No, and again, I'm glad that our viewers are, choosing the right one on this one, because I just completely agree with the ruling that there is not going to be holding a draft right now. And you brought this up earlier. It just would have completely undermined the NCAA if the NFL would have been like, yeah, okay, you're fine. Let's just go through with all of this. There has to be some kind of repercussion or a punishment of some sort here.
Brendan and his people handled this completely wrong.
Every step of the way.
Like, oh, we'll do this. Okay, fine, we'll do this. Okay, fine, we'll do this. And then they scramble to get the supplemental draft element of this done. And that's the issue here. The NFL's like, all right, well, you're not going to just dance around and then just coast into our league in the middle of July when no one else is declaring for the supplemental draft anyway. So I think that's it. I think that's why this came down. You're not going to disrespect the NFL and get away with it. As much as the gambling and the sports bet and all that stuff, I think it's very much that. They will win. Like this idea that Sorsby's going to sue, they're going to win that. The NFL is not going to lose. Just spoiler alert, breaking news, if that goes down, the NFL is going to win. More on that coming up. NKU head men's basketball coach Darren Horn live in studio at 9. I can't wait to ask him about my favorite NBA player of all time that he worked with. I'm fired up about that and much, much more as we roll on. First word, just getting started on a Hump Day edition right here on The Crown. About us, and then First Word talked about him, and every national show that you can think of yesterday talked about Joe Burrow, and we're going to hear from all of them coming up in a second. But the power of Joe on full display this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the goal. And this is what changes when you have a quarterback like this and a team like the Bengals. You get talked about differently. And that's what the frustration's been over the last 3 years, is that the Bengals should have been better and should have been striving for higher goals than they were in the last couple of years. And now there's a roster that matches that. And that's where a lot of the excitement comes from Joe and the rest of the locker room as well, is I finally feel like, especially from the offensive side of the ball, they have a defense to match now. And they can compete for a championship. And you can really feel the excitement. And it's not just Joe, even though his quotes are what we hold on to the most, probably. Everyone continually says how excited they are about this team, and I think we should all feel the same way.
We should, and when Joe Burrow speaks, everyone is listening. And I love how Joe said in his presser that he wants the Bengals to be in the conversation. He wants everyone talking about this team nationally. Much different kind of tone and feel that we heard out of Burrow this week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think when he says something that is a bit different, because you're right, he's a star quarterback. I don't think many star quarterbacks, even if they said what Joe said, make the news, the headlines that were made. The Bengals were the talk of the country yesterday, and it started with Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee Show talking.
Hi, my name is Elly Jones, just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this grand adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name is Jack Crumley. I've been covering news in Cincinnati on the radio for the last 20 years. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but Cincinnati has always felt like home since day one. I've seen so many things accomplished here, and now, with the Working Lunch, I get to write, read, and talk about them every day. Hard-working people with a drive and a dream. innovative ideas that help shape this city. Cincinnati is a great city, and I'm excited to tell you about it every day.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
First word rolls on. You got to hit him with the hezzy, Jacob. You were worried. You were wondering. You were thinking. And if you're thinking, make sure you join us every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on First Word. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, live on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network, live on YouTube, where the live chat is popping like it does every single morning. And you can catch clips and shorts and all of the show right there on YouTube. And, of course, streaming on X, on Facebook. And it's not just us, it's the entire Crown Network. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley every single weekday, noon to 1, right here on the Crown. And the Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner, the Nat Jones Show, and Nat tries that as well, wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. But let's dive into the Bengals. And let's talk Bengals. We already heard your scheduled game. If you missed that, well, we'll post that on YouTube like I mentioned. But this is pretty optimistic. And it's also fun, and it might just be realistic. NFL legend Torrey Holt joined Kay Adams. Kay asked about the next 2,000-yard wide receiver. A fun clip for Bengals fans.
Calvin Johnson he recently talked about the possibility of his receiving yards record eventually being broken, which I think is a little cheeky. Like, I don't know if he really means that. I think he's pretty confident what he's got. But if you had to call your shot, which receiver do you think? And that is 1,964 yards, though I'm sure I don't have to remind you. Who could do it?
That is a lot of yards. I mean, you look at this list, Puka, Jamar, Jefferson, JSN, Pickens. I mean, they all are certainly capable of doing it. If I had to guess, with a healthy Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, I think, will be first. Then I will go with JSN because he's just so good and just really good at getting open, getting the ball in his hands, being available. So those two come to mind. But I would say Jamar Chase, again, with a healthy Joe Burrow, probably will maybe scratch the surface of what Calvin Johnson was able to do.
Look, I get it. I understand the logic behind it. We've seen some crazy Jamar Chase seasons. He had 1,708 yards, won the Triple Crown in 2024. That's called the no look. Didn't even have to look at the 17 touchdowns that he had that season. Will he top that? You buying this idea that, hey, if you did the over-under game at 2,000, Jamar could hit the over?
I'm going to buy that of that list, he's the one that's most likely to achieve this at some point in his career, but I think I have to sell the fact that it will actually happen. It's just the fact that it hasn't been done before, and you talk about those numbers Jamar had in 2024, a Triple Crown season, an MVP caliber season out of Joe Burrow, and he still came up about 300 yards short of that mark. I mean, for a 17-game schedule, he'd have to average over 117 yards per game. I just don't see how that's going to happen when you have T. Higgins, who's also going to be demanding, almost just as many targets as Jamar.
You hear that, Jamar? I'm not knocking you as a doubter. I'm just making.
I'm not doubting he has the capability and the tools to do it. I just don't see it happening.
1,700 yards in 2024, just over 100-yard average per game on the season. They play the Chiefs at home this year, so that's an easy 250 yards against the Chiefs. And if he just does the 100 every other game, he should be right there within striking distance.
That's that St. X math right there. I like it.
Yeah, so I'm buying that it's feasible, but the reason why I'm selling that he gets there is because I think T. Higgins is going to be healthy and on the field and incredibly productive. I think just as much of a fun question for the Bengals as could the two of them combine combined for 3,000 yards instead of Jamar getting 2. I think T is going to take away a lot of those opportunities for Jamar just on the straight counting front, and they're both dominant receivers. And I mean, if you have other wide receiver 2s like George Pickens on that list, why not include T. Higgins? But Jamar Chase is certainly the most likely in the league to get 2,000.
Yeah, George Pickens isn't getting 2,000 yards, so
No.
we'll start there.
No.
It's going to be really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
The offense in Los Angeles flows through Puka Nacua to a big extent. So could I see him? I could. Like prime Cooper Kupp, right there. I think Jamar very much could do this. I think in 2024, if they're better, the numbers are better. He had 17 touchdowns that year. He dropped 2 or 3 touchdowns late in the season that I'm not going to let him forget about because he should have gotten to 20 touchdown catches that year. And instead, he just tied Carl Pickens for the franchise record in a single season. He left some plays out there. And the other thing that I know, in Chase's world, after his rookie year, there were talks like, oh, could I get to 2,000? And he had the 1,400 yards as a rookie. Can I get to 2,000? And he, as good as he was as a rookie, is so much more farther along now. How they use him, how they find ways to get him the ball. Now, he faces the way defenses approach Jamar, and this would be my biggest pushback. The way they approach Jamar, no other receiver in football is guarded like Jamar. Not Jackson Smith and Jigba and the attention he commands, no one like that, especially with Joe Burrow on the field because he's such a weapon. He's so game-changing. He's a big reason why Tyreek got traded from the Chiefs, and they revamped that entire secondary, and they put more assets and resources in that cornerback room. And it worked. The Chiefs revamped things, and it worked for them. So is Jamar a game changer enough to do it? I think so. My only hang-up, the only reason why I'm not saying over, literally, I mean, he had 1,400 yards with the Joes and Jake last year. 2 Joes and a Jake, that's a lot. That's a lot to catch passes from. My only hang-up is how defenses defend him. He commands so much more attention than these other guys. Justin Jefferson's the other one that commands that type of attention, but Puka doesn't. The way he's used, it's different. You can't treat him the same way. Smith and Jigba, all these other guys. So Jamar, certainly capable. The attention he gets, I'm not sure Joe is going to force it when he has all these other weapons that he certainly trusts.
Well, I think the difference between Jamar and a lot of the other players on that list as well is quarterback play, which is going to vault him up above most of those guys. I mean, if Puka Nacua is going to do it, he's going to do it in the next 2 years with Matthew Stafford, or 3 years down the line when Ty Simpson's ready and is a polished NFL quarterback. Drake May, A.J. Brown, sure, but the rest of these guys, Jared Goff, is he going to have a 2,000-yard receiver?
You're telling me Jared Goff isn't Joe Burrow?
I know you're a big Jared Goff guy, but I am going to make that
most
take.
Overrated, outside of your guy Dak.
Well, my guy Dak's on this list too. I was going to say the same thing. He's a good big stats guy, but with those 2 receivers, I don't think either of them are going to get close to 2,000 either. The one that I think skill-wise has a chance to get there would be JSN or Justin Jefferson. Neither of them, I think, have the QB play to get there. You don't?
And he was close last year, but I think that's career high for sure. See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If that's your career high, I mean, offensive player of the year.
I just think he's messing around those numbers for a while now.
Could.
In that echelon.
Or he'll get that attention.
That's also true. It changes things pretty drastically when you have a season like that. But the difference between the number 1 receivers in the league's quarterbacks and the security of those quarterbacks and Jamar's is staggering when you look at it like this. So I think that's another thing that puts Jamar significantly above the rest of these guys is he has so many more chances to get it done because of that security.
No, he absolutely does. But I'm going to go back to I just don't see it happening if T. Higgins is healthy. I mean, you look at that 2024 season where Jamar had over 1,700 yards. T. missed 5 games that year, and he still had over 900 yards in just 12 outings, averaging almost 76 yards a game. So that's where I lie. If Jamar is going to break this, that production, those numbers have to come away from someone else. And when you have a T. Higgins who could be a wide receiver 1 on nearly every other team in this league, I just have a hard time seeing Jamar getting to that threshold.
We were talking about wide receiver 3 earlier this week. What if wide receiver 3 just doesn't exist, and there's 4,000 yards, and they're divvied up, 22 and 17 between the two. Like, that's where I have such a hard time wrapping my head around.
22 and 17 would be crazy.
I have such a hard time wrapping my head around Jamar getting to 2,000 yards because of the other talent in that room. And obviously, you mentioned T, but Mike Gesicki is a huge receiver in that room. You have Colby Young, you just drafted this year. Andre Yoshivas in a contract year. Chase Brown gives you something in the receiving game out of the backfield as well. I just think there's a lot of mouths to feed, and obviously that's not going to take away from Jamar. I think he can win Offensive Player of the Years and be the best receiver in the league like he has been for the last however many years. But I just have a hard time seeing him get to that number with all those other mouths on the Bengals offense.
Yeah, I get it. I do. And yet, when I think about it, I would almost bet that Chase and his people are thinking 2K.
I think he should be.
Yeah.
Because it is feasible.
Much like Burrow's doable. Like with and Joe said 48 touchdowns is doable. He's thinking about 55. That's the record.
56.
Yeah, 56, setting the record, not just tying it. Sure. Jamar's definitely thinking 2,000. And with the 17 games, let's do this. What do you think the record is if Jamar Chase has 2,000 yards? Is it a good thing? Or is it a bad thing because of health and all of those? Because I think that's interesting, too. Like, 2000's record-setting, 1,708 was record-setting, and it clearly was in a down year where they lost more than they won. They were 4-8 after the first day in December.
I think that means T. Higgins misses significant time. I think that means the run game isn't very good, and I think that means the defense is struggling.
Wow.
Because
so you think they stink
I
if
think
he gets
it's
2,000?
very similar to 2024.
I agree with that because you're also now passing more late in games instead of being able just to kind of run out the clock. So I worry about that too. Unless, you're getting out to crazy 40-point leads, which...
And maybe you chase a record, but realistically, I just have a hard time believing Jamar's numbers take a huge jump from 2024 if the team is significantly better, which I expect them to be.
The 2012 Lions, my goodness, 1,964 yards for Calvin. You guys know the Lions record?
No.
4-12.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I remember that season. I'm stunned they were 4-12. God, they wasted Calvin and Stafford.
But then you do look at Cooper Kupp, who had the 1947 in 2021.
And that's the blueprint.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's what it is. You have this offense that's going through the quarterback and the receiver. And
there was no T. Higgins on that Rams team.
No doubt. No doubt. And would they use him like Kupp? If you do, great. Then tease your deep threat along with Andre, Colby Young. Like, who knows? Who knows exactly how it would work out, how it would play out. I do think it's interesting, though, is it good for the Bengals if he has 2,000 yards? On the surface, you'd say yes, but if you dive into it, the why is part of it, right? And so we'll see. But if everybody's healthy, then I think it would probably be good. Probably. Because then maybe you're just talking about 2007 Patriots and the offense.
Absolutely, yeah. If everyone plays the whole year and everyone's healthy, then it's a great thing. Because I think the floor for this team is pretty high if everyone's healthy all year long.
Mm-hmm. This block has gotten me thinking is this more likely? Is that more likely? Is this or that? So many different Bengals topics coming your way here on First Word. So many. I wrote a couple down, typed a couple out during the segment. So
here we
plenty
go.
coming your way. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati. Up next, everything you missed while you slept, right here on First Word.
Cincinnati fans that are watching this, Jared Calhoun takes over the program for the Bearcats. A dynamic hire, somebody that has ties to the program. What are your thoughts on Cincinnati going back to the well, getting a Cincinnati guy, and how much he can change that program?
Well, I think he's changing it already. I expect Cincinnati basketball to be back on the map. I expect them to be an NCAA tournament program again. And you just look at what he's done in the transfer portal, going all over, bringing a couple of guys with him from Utah State that'll certainly be helpful. Going and getting Tyler Tejada from Towson. That guy is ready for the high major level. He's a 6'9" wing who can do it all, scored a number of levels. You go and you get Miles Colvin, who's a 6'5" guy who's been around the block, a couple of high major schools, but I think is a player and can really play. You look at their roster, and they did a nice job of identifying different guards who provide length and versatility. And when you hire Jared Calhoun, it instantly, I think, just changes the complexion of your program because you get one of your guys, he gets the program, he understands the area, and he understands he's a grinder, man. You know, he really is. You do it at Youngstown State, Utah State, you've got something cooking. And I think when you look at what they did with their roster, they did a really nice job. But I can't, to me, the crosstown shootout is about to have new life in Cincinnati.
Affects the whole game, and you know whenever you break the snap and you're going up to the ball, you have to see where 97 is. So that's a linebacker's dream, you know, playing behind that. So I'm looking forward to taking the field with him and, you know, making a lot of plays with him and, you know, hitting the sexy Dexy with him. I've been practicing. I still don't know how to do it, so it's gonna take a little more practice. But I'm excited just to take the field with him, and you know, he's a great player, so I'm excited to line up with him for sure.
You know, don't feel bad. These guys are still trying to practice their sexy Dexy. We had them doing drills in here a couple of weeks ago. A lot of work.
Hey,
needs to be done. You weren't too far off.
We're getting there. We got a lot of getting there, you know. Pressure's on you, though.
Yeah.
You got plenty of eyeballs on you.
I tried in the mirror, and it just I look so uncoordinated, and yeah, I got to work on it, but it'll come.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Welcome into First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Make sure you check us live on YouTube, live on X, on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network as well. And of course, you can listen live on Mixler and check out all of The Crown programming, including the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, noon to 1, every single weekday. Let's dive into the Cincinnati Reds and talk about a Reds team that, let's be honest here, if you would have told me on Sunday, hey, they beat the Yankees, they took 2 of 3, and they're only going to give up 4 total runs against the Brewers in the first 2 games, the series, well, I would have said, man, they might win their 3rd straight series. We might be talking about playoffs and back in the division a bit. They'd only be 6.5 out had they won these past 2.
Mean a lot.
It would feel a lot different than it does today.
Yeah, and if they got a run for every hit over the last 2, they still wouldn't have won the last 2. So it's been absolutely brutal for the Reds. Yeah,
maybe they should use an oar.
It's a problem, and the question was posed in the chat, what's worse, having a bad offense or a bad bullpen? Reds fans have lived through weeks of both, and I'm not entirely sure because I wanted to go that way because when the pitching staff goes out there and allows 2 runs and you can't win a game, that's frustrating. But the month where the Reds had 1-run leads in the 9th and you could never win one of those games was frustrating too. So the Reds have taken the 2 worst routes in terms of the shortcomings of the team this year so far, offensively and bullpen, and I just don't know the map to have it all come together at this point. The thought was always health, and it seems like even when they get close, it just unravels again.
Very, very frustrating. Reds need to figure something out, and especially at the top of the lineup. Over the last 2 games, the 1 through 4 hitters are a combined 1 for 28. That 1 hit coming as a pinch hit off the bench by Dane Myers.
Dane, thank you, Dane. Can you imagine if it was over 28?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't have been good.
I can't imagine. which is sad that I can't imagine. You know, like it.
Yeah.
They saves the day from that being an even uglier stat. And that's it, is losing to the Brewers. Well, we're used to that. I had the stat last 12-35.
47-19 against the Reds or the Brewers since 2022.
Yeah.
47-19.
And 12-35 at home. Yeah. Like, we're used to that. But most of the team put you in position. And unfortunately, they didn't take advantage. The Reds dropped back-to-back games to the Brewers. They'll try to salvage it today. One of the main storylines is going to be Nick Lodolo. He got hit. He was pitching well, had 6 strikeouts through 4 innings, but had to leave in the 4th inning, or after the 4th inning, rather, after getting hit by this comebacker. And, man, it's one of those things. He says he's probably not going to miss a start. The x-rays are negative, but I don't know. You'll watch this, and you mentioned the 107 miles per hour, just the velocity off the bat. Painful. We'll see if he'll actually be able to pitch through it and not miss a start.
Yeah, very fortunate that nothing is broken and the x-rays came back fine. I think I would be stunned if he doesn't miss any time.
I was stunned that he stayed in the game. I mean, just the reaction there, throw the glove off, walk to the third baseline, obviously in pain. I was shocked he stayed in the game and was able to get through the inning without allowing a run. So, I mean, a great outing from Nick Lodolo, obviously marred by the injury, and that's what everyone's going to be looking for updates today. And if we get him before 11, we'll certainly bring him to you. But Nick Lodolo, no broken bones on the x-ray, but it's your pitching wrist. I don't really understand how he could possibly not miss a start, but the Reds would be incredibly lucky if that's the case.
Yep, no doubt about it. The good news is, on one hand, Hunter Green improving and getting better, love it. On the other hand, I'm like, well, that's not their issue, so what's going to happen, even if Lodolo does stay healthy? But good news on the Hunter Green front, he made a start for AAA Louisville and pitched pretty darn well. There's a look at the standings, by the way, 11.5 back. I mean, they let him off the hook, because I misspoke. They could be 7.5 back had they handled business the past 2 games. They would be 39-39. It would just feel much, much different. Instead, well, they're 37-41, really, really struggling. If they were 39-39, Hunter Green coming back, like, you would just be able to easily see the path.
It would feel much, much different.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday after the show. The chance for the Reds to really have a huge buy-in here was to fight back, get above 500 or get around 500, activate Hunter Green. A lot of people would get excited about that move, and then you have a chance to get over the hump there in the month of July. But now you keep letting these losses or these wins just fall through your fingers and turn into losses. And that's with a Reds team that has no margin for error. When you get outings like this, you have to turn them into wins, and they've just been completely unable to. The Brewers have now won 14 of the last 15 series against the Cincinnati Reds.
That should be impossible in professional baseball. Like, impossible. And yet, very much possible. We'll see how quickly Hunter Green can come up. We're going to hear from Elly De La Cruz in a second. But Hunter Green goes to Louisville. Nice rehab appearance. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 54 pitches, 36 strikes. He was going to throw between 70 and 75. Ended up throwing 54, but the 4 innings, the 2 hits, the 3 strikeouts, no runs. I would take that all day long. On paper, you're like, all right, box checked, mission accomplished for Hunter Green.
Absolutely thrilled about Hunter, both of these rehab starts. And I know it's AAA, and I know it's not MLB bats, but analytically, this was one of the best starts of Hunter's career for his splitter. His splitter looked phenomenal last night, over 50% whiff rate. He's never had that with a third pitch in his arsenal. So the expansion of Hunter Green through this time to get maybe even better is great to see, and hopefully he can continue to work back and be healthy.
Gabe, put the graphic up. Hunter Green, one of the best starts of his career.
For his splitter.
I know. Oh, yeah. Break down the numbers again there.
It's really, really good. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the whiff rate was really, really high, and it's a pitch that he hasn't used a ton in his career. So it's continued to expand his arsenal. He was very similar to Chase Burns when he came up in the conversation of fastball slider needing to expand, and he continues to do that.
Is he the one throwing to the Reds, too? Is that why they can't get a hit? Is that slider is just messing with,
Yeah,
is that it?
Anyone can strike out the
Whiff rate
Reds.
is crazy. Well, yeah, it's because the Reds are... No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's... This courtesy of Fox 19. Hunter Green, after his rehab appearance in AAA Louisville, sounding optimistic, and this is certainly a big step in the right direction.
Felt great. Felt strong. Felt really good with all of my pitches. Felt consistent. Felt like I was constantly in the attack mode, which is good, and felt like I was ready to go and compete today. Yeah, it's really just feel of pitches. I think the most important thing coming back with rehab is getting into that competitive mode and being able to flip that switch. Especially in rehab, you can get really internal. You can think, is my elbow going to feel good? Is my knee going to feel good? Back, whatever it may be. But you lose sight of like that external focus of I'm just trying to attack the hitter. So other than feeling good and my pitches feeling good, that was my main objective, was to make sure I was fully present and attacking from the first pitch to the very last.
If there is reason for optimism, that's it, right? Is Hunter Green's coming back. The pitching is starting to come around. Even if Lodolo misses some time, well, guess what? Hunter Green is getting closer. And this needs to be their strength. This is what's going to carry them. It certainly isn't going to be their hitting. We know that. Even if they do win games, it's not going to be most of the time because of their hitting. So good news that Hunter Green is coming around.
And that's the thing with Hunter really this whole time. It's been a long road back from the elbow surgery in March, but there have been no setbacks. He stayed on the same trajectory the whole way. Both of his rehab starts have looked solid so far. So really nothing but great news about Hunter Green since that injury happened, and just staying on this trajectory, and he'll be back hopefully sooner rather than later.
Hopefully. Speaking of back, Elly De La Cruz was back. It didn't lead to run production for the Cincinnati Reds, but he did talk before the game, and I do think it's pretty noteworthy to hear from Elly. And the surprising thing, whatever you want to say, started at short. Not that he was hitting in the second spot, just started at short. So before we dive into that and react to it, here's Elly De La Cruz before the 2-0 loss to the Brewers yesterday.
I just want to make sure I'm good to go there and try to help the team win.
What gives you confidence the team can still make the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a solid team. We got a pretty good team, and if we stay together, we can make it.
How much does it help that Hunter's pitching in Louisville tonight? He could be back soon. Emilio could be back soon as well.
Yeah, we definitely need those guys. But we gotta keep fighting. With those guys here, we still gotta keep fighting and play together.
Terry said that he had to hold you back a little bit because he wanted to come back earlier than expected. What were those conversations like?
Yeah, I wanted to get back quick. It wasn't fun not playing, but they know what they're doing. You got to trust them.
When you watch the team being around, watching them maybe lose some games and not being able to help, how did that make you feel watching your teammates?
It doesn't feel good because I wanna be there and try to help the team win. And whenever you can, it doesn't feel good. It's not fun.
Do you feel like your rehab games gave you everything you needed to know that you're okay?
Yeah.
That courtesy of our friends from Fox 19. Look, Elly De La Cruz being back, it didn't help. Honestly, it didn't help the lineup, but you need 44 out there. Certainly, if you're going to be able to generate any kind of offense, and we'll see how they handle him today because he did play shortstop.
I think we were all surprised that he was at short. We kind of were under the assumption that, you DH him last night, have him play short today with the off day coming on Thursday. So I'm very intrigued as to what Francona is going to end up doing. Is he going to go out short back-to-back nights? Is he going to DH? And then you have 2 days off from in the field. So lots to kind of play with. But at the end of the day, I know he went, 0 for 3 last night, but always great to have Elly back in the lineup.
Yeah, certainly surprised to see him at short. But if he DHs today, I'll say it's about a wash because it was still 1-1. But definitely a shock to see that. And I think it goes back to kind of what I was saying yesterday, where they're not going to activate him from the injured list unless they're confident he can play shortstop. So then if he can play shortstop, you might as well play him at shortstop. I thought another side of that coin that was pretty interesting was that Edwin Arroyo started at second base, and Matt McClain was the one on the bench. I think a lot of us, guessed that Arroyo would be the odd man out in that situation, at least early, but since McClain has played second so much, obviously, in his career. But Arroyo, the error last night, struggled a little bit at second, but he has been such a great glove in his career throughout the minors that I do think this is the middle infield of the future. So I'm really interested to see how they use Matt McClain throughout these next few weeks as Elly is maybe playing shortstop every day, maybe having some DH spots. We'll be interested to see how that all develops.
Yeah, no doubt. We have some news that Jacob certainly was interested in yesterday. Brendan Sorsby, well, not NFL bound after all. After trying to apply for the NFL supplemental draft, the league informing him and his representatives, hey, no supplemental draft, we're not going to hold one. And this was reported yesterday afternoon after we went off the air. But yeah, it's a really interesting thing where Sorsby's people says, hey, we're going to join with the NFLPA that he's not a part of, and we're going to sue. Meanwhile, the NFL says, hey, Brendan, good luck next year. Maybe you can be in the draft next season.
He's going to sue his prospective employer with a players' association he's not a part of because they violated a CBA he's not protected by. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I don't think that lawsuit really has many legs to stand on there, and I would imagine Sorsby doesn't play competitive football in any kind of high league in 2026, which is a great thing for the sport. I think when you bet on your sport, it should be done right there. I've said it from the beginning. It was great that college football made this stance, and it's great that the NFL is standing with them, because the big thing for me in conversations like this is if the NFL lets Sorsby in right now and lets him play this year, you're completely undermining the fact that he did anything wrong in college football by giving him the easy out to go play professional ball. So I love that the NFL did this. I think it's absolutely the right decision, and I think it's even more interesting that they continue to say he's prepping for possible entry into the 2027 draft. They didn't say entry at any point in that letter. So we'll see about eligibility when that rolls around as well.
I'd be surprised. Who knows? I'd be surprised if they just completely ban him forever. I think at some point he'll have his chance if he handles this correctly. And that's the part where if you kick and scream during this, well, then the NFL's going to be like, well, you're not showing us up.
Right.
And so if I'm him, I would certainly look in the mirror a bit. Albert Breer reporting that Sorsby's lost about $4 million already. Had he played at Texas Tech, played well, been a top pick, well, then he could have made another $30, $40, $50 million. Yeah. So Sorsby has lost a lot of money over the past few months. Speaking of money, Kyle Pitts, well, he got paid. And man, oh man, we talked about him a few weeks ago. This idea that, oh, well, could he get a new, end up in a new team because he was in that franchise tag year? Well, 3 years, $54 million, $36 million guaranteed. It's the largest 3-year contract for a tight end in NFL history. Kyle Pitts, Falcons, together for at least the next 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think this might squash your dreams of the Bengals trading for him.
Ooh, yeah, it's over now. It's long over. We timed out the Pitts hypothetical and the Sorsby hypothetical very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pat us on the back. No. We timed those out very, very darn well here on First Word.
Great. Yeah, Pitt's now the 3rd highest paid tight end in football behind Kittle and Trey McBride. That's a tier I think a lot of people may be surprised to see him in, but I forget who it was, but someone tweeted it last night, and it's when a great player is supposed to be great and they end up being good, it's really hard to wrap your head around the fact that they did end up being good. And I think that's where Kyle Pitts lies in this whole thing. He was a generational tight end prospect coming out of Florida. He was picked a pick ahead of Jamar Chase in the draft, and he's never quite turned into that player.
Yeah.
But he's still really, really good and probably worth this contract in the grand scheme of things. He's their wide receiver 2 for all intents and purposes after they let Darnell Mooney go this year. So I think it's a great contract for Atlanta, and I think it's smart to keep him around.
I get it. I totally understand it, especially if you have a young quarterback, and right now it's Michael Penix, Tua, or whoever they end up, Brendan Sorsby next year. You never know what it's going to be, right? But from that perspective, it makes a ton of sense. All right, I know Marisa wants to talk that soccer, so go highlight the World Cup here in while you slept.
We were wondering when Cristiano Ronaldo would score in the World Cup, but we finally got to see that last night. He having a brace, becoming the first men's player to now score in 6 different World Cups. Major accomplishment by Ronaldo. And another just one of those weird stats I came across. The longest time ever between a player's first and the latest World Cup goal, Ronaldo, 20 years and 11 days now after scoring last night. Messi, 20 years and 11 days. The fact that they both, to the day, it's just, I don't know if we're ever going to see anything like this again in the sport. And the fact that we get to watch both of them now at the World Cup. And also, guys, the way things are kind of shaking out, Argentina and Portugal could end up meeting in the next round.
Give me that. Give me that right now. We're pre-gaming that one. Let's go. You in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. We will do that. Up next, though, we have plenty of Bengals on the docket, including schedule game, Eric All, and much, much more right here on First Word.
Let me ask you this, Trey. What kind of a coach, from your perspective, is Richard Pitino for this program going forward? What did you enjoy about playing for him the most?
I think the most important thing, this is very important if you want to play for a coach that's serious. I think he's going to keep it real 100% of the time. It doesn't matter who's the highest paid guy. It doesn't matter who averages the most. If you're not doing what you need to do, you will not see the court. And he keeps it as real as that. He will cuss you out. He'll tell you you're being lazy. He'll call you a bunch of things that I can't say on here. Like he's not afraid to, belittle you, but then bring you back up. Like he'll belittle you and then he'll bring you right back up. Like he'll be like, you need to stop. I remember this play. Like it was yesterday. I messed up a coverage with Jovan. He was hedging and I said switch, which wasn't the right thing. And he chewed me out. He's like, "Are you confused? What are you doing? Are you confused? Like, what are we doing?" That's the PG version, by the way. Like, because he called a timeout right after he hit a three. And then
so this was in a game, not in practice.
Yo, this was in a game. And then he's looking at me on the bench. He's looking at me. He's like, "All right, where do you want on the block so you can go score and show him who's boss?" I was like, "Oh, well, just put it right here, coach. I'll go score on him." And very next play, I scored on him. So, but he's a coach that, he wants what's best for you. He also wants what's best for the team. He's going to put you in situations where you're going to shine the best, but it's his team. You need to know it's his team. And like, he has a family and he has a job that he needs to, he needs to win. And obviously this first year, you're not going to be like, okay, it's the first year. Like, I promise you, he's the type of coach, like, he's never going to have a losing season ever again at Xavier. Like, I know I sound bold for saying that, but he's never going to lose again at Xavier. I'm not going to be surprised if they finish top 3 this year because of how his mind works. Because, like, he loses sleep over losing. He loses sleep when we don't beat a team by 20 that we should have beat by 30. Like, you can ask him. He loses sleep about this kind of stuff.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley. Weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Coming up in 23 minutes, T-minus 3 minutes, Michael Jordan minutes away from Darren Horn in the building, NKU head men's basketball coach. We'll talk to him about the state of his program, year number 8 for Coach Horn with the Norse. Plus, well, we got to ask him about Dusty May going to the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to ask him about my favorite NBA player of all time that he has ties to that helped LeBron get 2 of his 4 rings, so that side of the desk can celebrate. Because D-Wade, man, oh man, where would LeBron be without D-Wade? Taught that man how to win.
Where would LeBron be without D-Wade is a great topic.
I think a lot of it D-Wade would have been healthy down there.
It is a great topic because he helped him a lot. I can't believe you guys are in denial. That being said, Eric All. Great transition. Eric All. I think Eric All is a LeBron. I think he's a LeBron. We'll figure it out, but a big LeBron fan.
Good. Oh, I was like, how are you finishing that sentence?
No, I think he's a bit, but most of that generation, it makes sense. Anyways, Eric All is healthy. He was participating in the offseason program. He missed all of last year with the ACL. And this promo that the Bengals posted last week during Media Day got fans' attention. There was plenty of social media discussion because Eric All featured with Joe Burrow. Look at All Jr. You see All
front and
the
center.
83. So that's him and Mike Gesicki back there at tight end. You got P. Ryan Brown, T. Jamar back to front. Does this matter, Jacob Tissot, because Eric All healthy and Eric All, there he is to the left of Joe Burrow?
Sure, it matters. At the very least, to me, it leads me to believe it's the second tight end right now on the roster. I mean, looking at the top 2 running backs, top 2 receivers, top 2 tight ends, I think that's a reasonable assumption to make. And I'm excited about Eric All. I was excited about him when they made the draft pick. I think he's certainly working back to being healthy now. And we talked a little bit a couple weeks ago about his ceiling and some stat projections for this season. I think he can be a crucial piece to this offense and really open up a door that the Bengals haven't had over the last few years of a do-it-all tight end. They have a great blocking tight end in Drew Sample. They have a great receiving tight end in Mike Gesicki. Eric All can do both at a really high level, and I think he can provide something to this offense, and I hope it's something. I hope he's a key piece of this Bengals offense this year.
No, I completely agree. I'm a little confused why everyone was making such a big deal about this over social media.
What do you mean? He's out. He's center.
I understand he's healthy. I think it's a given he's like tight end 2 when he's out there. Given the fact that Drew Sample's not a passing catching tight end, and you're highlighting your receivers on that. I was just really confused.
I'm in. Clip that. That's thumbnail worthy here on YouTube. It's a given. Eric All, tight end. Drew Sample played the most tight end snaps for the Bengals last year.
Tight end 2 when it comes to a pass catching tight end.
Okay.
You have Gesicki, and then I think you have All.
Interesting.
I think All will have the second most targets and receptions, maybe more than Gesicki actually.
Here's my thought here, and it's like threefold. And even before the show started, when was this? This was this offseason. I tweeted about Eric All, like, they can't bank on him being healthy. And we had a nice back and forth, and we joke about it now in the locker room because people thought we were mad at each other, and we weren't. But the point is, the beauty of social media, if Eric All is healthy, there's no denying what he can bring to this offense, to both of your points. The health is a huge factor. They couldn't bank on his health. And I still don't think they are banking on his health, which is partially why they were really ecstatic to get Jack Endries in the 7th round. Early returns on him are good, by the way, talking to multiple people in the building, which is exciting when it comes to this tight end room. But, yeah, I don't know if this promo video means anything, right? But Eric All being on the practice field does matter. Zach Taylor calling Eric All physical matters a ton. The fact that a couple of years ago, yesterday we were talking about joint practices, a couple of years ago during the joint practice against the Colts, one of the first things that Eric All said to me when we talked one-on-one was how much he loves blocking over pass catching. By the way, he's a really good pass catcher. Means he's going to get better and better as a blocker. I think they were on their way to unlocking a new layer of this offense in 2024 when he got hurt. He gets hurt as a rookie. He was starting to come on as a pass catcher, and they were starting to trust him as a blocker and this move blocker that could do a little bit of everything, do it all, pun intended. Can he pick up where he left off? If so, that's going to matter for this offense. I think that their offense expands some. And part of that does have to do with a guy like Jack Endries who can learn behind All, because right now it's Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, Drew Sample, and you have those guys, and they're very role-based. And you need to find a way to get a guy who can do a mixture of both. And I think Eric All is that guy. We'll see. But I do believe that this means something strictly because he was on the practice field. He was healthy enough to do that. And if he's doing that and excited about where he is health-wise, well, then why wouldn't he matter for this team?
Yeah, step one for any of these players getting on the field is just to be in the mix. And I think that's the exciting thing about seeing that, because to your point there, I think everyone hopes that Eric All is the tight end 2 on this team if he's healthy and productive at this point, because his ceiling is so high compared to a lot of the other players on this roster. But I don't think I would have been shocked if it was Drew Sample in a video like that in the middle of the offseason, since he was, the high reps guy, has been here for a long time, has been the tight end 2 for multiple years. So I think just the fact that he is already seizing that role early in the offseason, at least from a social media perspective, I think does mean something. And it is exciting that he is back on the field, having good practices, showing what he needs to show to be in that mix. And I, again, just think that's a level of this Bengals offense that they haven't tapped into yet. And there's not a lot of that left left to tap into on the Bengals side of things. Offensively, Chase Brown has been great since he's gotten here. Obviously, the receivers are great. You retain the O-line this year, and then the next step would be that do-it-all tight end. And I think Eric can provide that, certainly in this offense. And to see him healthy and performing early in the offseason is really, really great.
No, absolutely. And that's where, too, a healthy Eric Gall, I would imagine, is going to eat into some of the snap count and the high snap count that we've seen out of Drew Sample over the last years. He hasn't played below 42% of the offensive snaps when he's played a full season for the Bengals. But to the point of Drew Sample is just not a huge, pass catching threat in the tight end room. That's why I'm not overly reading into, this like social media video a ton that it's Eric Gall, because you think about Eric Gall, you think that, yeah, he is more of a pass catching threat, because also the Bengals decided to go with 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, and 2 running backs in this video. They could have put Andre Yosivach in there or some of the other receivers, but they decided to do 2 per position.
Yeah. Little surprised they didn't just go with Sample. Well, Sample might have just been busy, right? Like, it doesn't, who knows? Like, he literally might have been doing another promo, and they're like, all right, well, so he might have been doing a radio interview. You never know what he was doing, but like it might come down to that, or his time didn't line up with everybody else's time, and Joe's there, and Jamar's there, and T's there. You're going to make it work if those guys are there. Maybe. Or maybe we look and we're like, that's the moment Eric Gall was on his way to 600 yards and having an awesome tight end season for the Bengals. Could happen.
I have it bookmarked. When he has the year of his career this year, I'll be going back to that video.
Eric Gall extension? Coming up a year from now, Eric Gall extension talks right here on First Word. Up next, we're going to dive into, well, what in the world is going on with former University of Cincinnati Bearcat quarterback Brendan Sorsby. We'll hear from a legal analyst next, right here on First Word.
This city has always had something to prove. While the rest of the country talked about us, we built our own voice. Blue collar, underdogs, built differently, overlooked, talked about like we were supposed to stay quiet. But that was never who we were, because this city doesn't wait for permission. And neither do we. And now, for the first time, Cincinnati has a network built in its image, because the biggest stories in this city deserve more than highlights. This isn't cable television. This isn't national media. This is ours. This is the Crown.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, a Cincinnati native, and I have been in media for about 10 years now. Formerly on the radio here in Cincinnati, I grew my love and obsession with finding all things fun in Cincinnati and have now made it my life. I'm originally from the West Side here, and then I've pretty much been a downtown girl ever since college. But I did leave for 7 years, and during that time, I really grew and harnessed and cut my teeth doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, learning how to ski in Colorado, and now I'm back here in Cincinnati, driven by curiosity and grounded by family.
First one's going to be a yes or no. So is the biggest need for the Reds right now bullpen?
Yes.
It is. Over lineup.
Over lineup?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No doubt.
All right. There you go. There's one. 2, should they be buyers at the deadline? They're 15 and 27 since May 1. They're 35 and 38 on the year.
As I like to do, James, I'm going to answer this conditionally.
Conditionally?
If they're going to be serious and be buyers to be buyers and go all in, yeah, they should be buyers.
Go all in.
Well, James, you've got 3 wild card spots. We saw what happened last year.
They remind me every day. They're only 3 games out. Them and everybody else in that out.
But that's the way they are. They're not going to catch the Milwaukee Brewers. Realistically,
they're 11 out.
They are. But there have been Reds teams in the past that have made a run. I mean, we go back to the 70s. 79 Reds were 10 games. I know I love to go back to the 70s.
The 70s?
You know,
yeah, with your music and your takes. Let's
yes,
go.
I do. But anyway, the Reds have the ability to make up a lot of ground if there weren't 4 teams in front of them. But they're not going to. We're talking mid to late June, they're not going to be able to leapfrog 4 teams, I don't think, and get to the top of the division. That's just not realistic at this point in time. So if they are still within shouting distance of that number 3 wild card, go for it and then get in, and then hope Hunter Green finds that magic, becomes that dominant ace. Hunter Green and Chase Burns at the top of your rotation with Andrew Abbott after that. If they were ever able to get to the postseason, I love that.
I'm Paul Fritchner. I'm a 2019 graduate of Xavier University, and I've been covering college basketball for 10 years here in the Cincinnati area. I'm the host of the Rebound Rundown, a daily college basketball podcast during the season and a weekly show in the offseason covering everything you need to know about your favorite team. And if you're not a fan of a team here in Cincinnati, I have you covered from the national perspective as well. Follow it on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Coming up in 10 minutes, NKU head men's basketball coach Darren Horn in the building. I can't wait to talk to him about the Norse, about the NIL landscape. Might ask him about Dusty May. I got to ask him about my guy Dwayne Wade. Got to ask him about the guy that made LeBron James's championship career in my. Oh, does that bother you guys?
It does. It does.
Oh, does that get to you?
Because I think about
Love
how many
Dwayne
more
Wade.
championships LeBron would have if Dwayne Wade was healthy and effective in the playoffs.
He would actually have more if he stuck with Wade.
No.
Not even a debate.
We don't have time for that debate.
Not even a debate.
The thing is, we do have time because there's 3 hours left, so I think we could maybe squeeze it in.
There's not 3 hours left. There's 6 minutes left, according to Gabe, and that's his way. You know, notice this. Did you hear the 6 minutes?
I did.
Yes.
That is when he's like, "Hey, get on topic now." So I'm gonna keep it going.
He keeps us moving.
Yeah, he tries. He tries sometimes.
Good
But
job,
also,
man.
get on topic. We're like, "Hey, 3 minutes. What are you doing?" Hello?
Okay, so let's go, James.
Hello. No, we have plenty of time, is my point, because Brendan Sorsby, this guy, your favorite guy. I'm going to get you a Sorsby jersey when he's in the league.
He always does this.
I want a Texas Tech one really bad.
Do they exist?
Yes.
Did they make them already?
Yes.
I assume they did, right?
Custom NIL jersey, so you can get any player. I want one really bad.
Custom NIL. Yeah, I mean.
I would wear it to every UC game.
You don't go to UC games.
I know, but I think I might.
You're ridiculous. Anyways, all right, so the Brendan Sorsby saga continues. He's the subject of our poll question today here on First Word. And the thing that's interesting to me is all of these people chirping, weighing in. You have the NFL insiders, you have the Jacob Tissots, but you also have Andrew Brandt, who knows the legal side of this, because Sorsby's legal team apparently going to sue the NFL alongside the NFLPA if the PA is going to help a player that isn't necessarily part of their union. Here's Andrew Brandt on the Ross Tucker Football Show explaining the situation, Sorsby's options, and how realistic it is that he could win a lawsuit against the league.
I'm not shocked, because the NFL is not going to go lightly when it comes to gambling. We've seen this. Calvin Ridley make a few parlay bets a few years ago while he was on a mental health break, suspended for a year. Now, I understand we're in a different situation, but again, the NFL strengthened its personal conduct policy in 2023 very quietly without opposition from the union in order to apply conduct discipline to those pre-draft eligible. That applies here. And the way I read the NFL's statement about this is, hey, you can't just say, hey, I screwed up in college, guess I'll go to the pros, and not give accountability, not give a whole reason, not have the team schedule this out right away. So the NFL is saying no. And again, if you think of the NFL with the primary premise and mantra of integrity, a league that gave a 4-game suspension to Tom Brady for deflated footballs in the name of the integrity of the game, yeah, gambling. And I understand it. Yes, DraftKings, everybody is involved with this, but the one mantra has always been yes to the leagues, yes to the networks, yes to media, but no to the players. And now you have an incoming player asking the league to bypass that. So I'm not shocked And I'll say this, we're not done with this. He continues to be a week or 2 or 3 on my sports law syllabus because I think there are going to be more lawyers. Same lawyer that sued the NCAA and won with a state court, Jeffrey Kessler, will now sue the NFL and try to see what happens for Sorsby based on the CBA. And the last thing I'll say is good luck with that because Sorsby is not a member of the NFLPA, which is the party to the CBA. So this still has a lot of permutations to go. But as you mentioned, as of now, no NFL and no college for Brendan Sorsby, at least until 2027.
That's Andrew Brandt on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Really good stuff there. Couple of things. One, it feels like Sorsby's entire representation has been flying by the seat of their pants. Oh, hey, we'll get you eligible. Let's get you into counseling. This is going to come out. We'll get you into counseling, and then this is how we'll do it. And then we're going to win the legal battle, and then the NCAA politely says, go. Texas Tech was like, hey, this isn't worth the headache. Oh, well, we're going to scramble and go to the supplemental draft. We'll just get you to the league. It's fine. You skip the draft, but we'll get back into it. And now they're like, oh, well, we'll just mess around and sue the NFL when he's not a member of the NFLPA, which Andrew Brandt pointed out. You think there's any chance here that they have a chance? And Jeffrey Kessler did win that Brady Deflategate thing for a bit, but he still had to serve a suspension. It was just down the line. The NFL doesn't lose in these situations. I'm not sure that this would be. In fact, I know this is not the best line to go. There's no way if I'm Brendan Sorsby, I sue. I would go play in the UFL before I would sue.
When is the last time Brendan Sorsby took the right route through this whole thing? It wasn't leaving
Can't
UC.
read the playbook. Can't run the right route.
His agent didn't know about the buyout he owed UC. They didn't know that this gambling thing was going to blow up in their face when they got to Texas Tech. They didn't know that the therapy wouldn't work for NCAA eligibility. They didn't know the temporary injunction was going to be thrown out in 2 weeks, and they didn't know the NFL wouldn't hold a supplemental draft. So who's advising him at this point? Because he needs new advisement. At some point, and this is going to sound a little crazy coming from me in this whole thing, I'm starting to feel bad for Brendan Sorsby. He is getting horrible advice through this whole thing about how to handle this. Even removing the gambling and the athletics part of things, he is suing his potential employer.
Yeah, I would have much rather had seen Sorsby in his camp just take accountability for it and just, know it, put your head down, I'm going to go to work and figure everything out behind the scenes.
They should have had a plan 2 months ago about getting into the supplemental draft as a break glass scenario. They did not have a plan. We have a plan. We're going to be joined by Darren Horn, head NKU men's basketball coach, next to talk about the man who made LeBron, right here on First Word.
Cincinnati, Ohio. We welcome you from Cincinnati, Ohio. Nick with the fan favorite to put it away. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Oh, what a catch. The Cincinnati kids score. What a possession. And look who scores and the Reds win.
You were there. We were sitting next to each other like we are now yesterday. Joe Burrow was talking for 25 minutes. Your biggest takeaway was?
Urgency. I think Joe Burrow realizes that he's got to be a meaner Joe. 1970s?
Meaner Joe.
Mean Joe Burrow. I love the way that lines up for everybody who appreciates the 1970s and Mean Joe Green. But anyway, all seriousness, I think Joe Burrow has communicated to everybody inside the locker room and now outside that what happened the last couple of years is not going to be acceptable. And I think he is ready to take on the responsibility that comes with holding everybody accountable every single day. I think he has been certainly the leader in that locker room. I'm not here to insinuate that he hasn't done a good job being a leader up until this point, but I think he's going to try to be a different type of leader. Dan Pitcher talked about this as we were heading out the door and met with him, a couple of the beat writers, Dan Pitcher was saying maybe he wasn't comfortable being that kind of leader the last couple of years, and maybe this is his growth in leadership, the next step he thinks he needs to take to deliver that message of urgency, and I think it's been really well received.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network. Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down the biggest moments and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
Happy Wednesday and welcome in to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. And we are joined by NKU head men's basketball coach Darren Horn in the building today. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, man. This is great.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. First coach that we've had on set. So how about that?
There you go.
Yes. Coach, period. So
I've got to add that to my list of short accolades.
There we go. Add it to the LinkedIn for sure. You and the Norse are going to be at Highlands Middle School today for Norse in the Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that before I ask you all of these crazy NIL questions and Dwayne Wade questions that I know they're looking forward to.
Of course. Yeah, no, Norse in the Neighborhood, we're trying to take our team. You know, we've got a unique situation. It's great that we're Northern Kentucky's team, but it's not an obvious area that's ours, right? You got Highland Heights, you got Fort Thomas. I live over in Villa Hills, Crestview. You know, there's all kinds of neighborhoods. We're bringing our team to different neighborhoods this summer. First stop is in Fort Thomas tonight. We're really excited to get to know our new guys. And in this world, James, as we all know, 7 new guys for us. Over half of our roster is foreign born. So we think it's important for our fans to try to get the jump start on getting to know our new team.
Yeah, for sure. And how big of a challenge is that with the NIL rosters flipping like crazy? You mentioned the 7 new guys, just one, getting guys in the building and going up against everybody else when it comes to the NIL side. And then when they get there, you got to get them familiar and comfortable, and not on the court, but off of it as well.
Yeah, we've tried to embrace just understanding that this is a one-shot deal every year, right? And you're just starting over. You hope you can retain some good guys. Your recruiting starts with trying to retain. But, you know, this year we only have one starter back, so we're going to have essentially a brand new team. And in some ways it's exciting because you're going out and you think that you're able to really narrow down and pinpoint these are exactly the needs that we have, and then you just got to figure out, are we in the ballpark money-wise?
Obviously, bringing in players is a huge piece, but you just mentioned the retention there. As a mid-major, how's the struggle when guys progress and play really well to have them not try to take that leap and keep them at NKU?
It's not a struggle. You just lose them. You just do. I mean, I think our league last year, the stat was of the 15 guys that made one of the all-conference teams, 14 of them left the league. Wow. And so it's kind of an assumption. And so, again, even in recruiting, we got a really talented freshman this year that I think maybe could help us a lot. There's no guarantees back to the sophomore year. So, again, we just kind of take that one-year approach. How can we be the best team to win a championship this year in the Horizon League?
You mentioned you have, players from a variety of different backgrounds, Australia, Spain, Madagascar. I mean, what's the challenge like in bringing together a group that has such a diverse background, and also maybe what kind of benefit could that play to the team?
One of the things about it is the foreign-born guys have come up in a definite system where they seem to kind of plug in some ways. Oftentimes a little better than the American guys. But great personalities. You learn a lot. I thought Madagascar was a kid's movie. My kids were young, and that was one. Apparently, it's a country.
It's instantly what I thought of, to be clear, yes.
And Donnie's been a terrific player for us. And so you get a lot of national team stuff in the summer. So, like right now, we don't have 3 of them here because they're with their national teams. But it really makes for a great experience for our players, and it's been a lot of fun to coach them.
Does it feel like you're entering year 8?
No.
At NKU?
No, it's gone so fast. This is the longest my wife and I have ever lived anywhere. We love the area, and it doesn't feel like it's starting our 8th year. It's gone really fast.
Yeah, I was thinking 5-ish, and I'm like, no, it's year 8. Yeah, it's.
I guess that's good. No, not like let's get rid of this guy. He's been here too long.
No, I think it's good. I think that's. The NIL thing, is it like pre-post NIL in your mind? Like how you think
of it that way? It's almost like two kind of different times.
Different eras.
Yeah, it really is.
Of how it, that's COVID in my mind.
Yeah, no question.
When COVID happened, time stopped, and then it's like, we're in 2026.
So. We kind of had 3. We had regular, COVID, and then now NIL transfer portal. So it's been a lot of transition in a short time.
Yeah, in the NIL element of it, How do discussions with the school go when you're like, hey, I'm competing with all of these other, it's tough. It's tough to do that, and you want to win, and you want to get guys, and I know that's, hey, we need more money to give players to get them here to Highland Heights.
It's a little hat in hand, right? and the one thing I'll say is we've got tremendous leadership, and Katie Short-Thompson, our president, is committed to athletics, is committed to our men's basketball team being successful in the Horizon League. So we've stayed competitive. We're not at the top. We're still working to get there financially. But, I think you saw when Jared was hired, right? I think you saw with what Richard went through last year and when the adjustment that Xavier has made. To some degree, there is you've got to be at a certain amount to make sure you're going to be competitive at the level that you want to be. Take the Final Four last year, right? All 4 of those teams, really good programs, spent really big. And the line that we always use is, if you spend the most money, it doesn't guarantee you have the best team. But if you're not competitive financially, it guarantees you have no shot to be good.
You mentioned potentially having a big-time freshman that could help this year with NIL. How do you manage spending that either in the portal or on incoming freshmen to either have that experience or the new guys?
Yeah, we've taken what we call a pro model, NBA model. So like the NBA draft was last night, right? And I know we're going to get to D-Wade here in a second. You've got a max contract guy. You got a couple guys that you think are starters, maybe, that you're playing. Then there's sort of a rotation level, and then there's the rest of the roster, and we break it down that way from a percentage basis, starting with how much we have to spend. And obviously the most expensive guys are the guys that are producers already in college. And so for us, freshmen is sort of like a league minimum. We haven't gotten to the point like some of the high majors have where, you compete. We were talking about football quarterbacks before we went on air. We're not at that point yet. We're using that NBA model, and, so far it's given us a chance to be competitive.
You mentioned, too, just the roster turnover and all the new faces. Give me a name of one of the new guys to where fans might not be as, familiar with now, but by this time next year, they're going to be talking about.
It's a great question. I'm going to say Noah Pagato. Italian name, Australian-born, was at a Division II in Texas. Last year was at East Commerce State in Texas, a Division I, and a really skilled big guy that can play inside and out, but also a bruiser, really physically a strong interior presence, which is something we haven't had. We've had good length and athleticism, but I think he's going to bring us a little bit of physicality around the rim that we've been missing. So we're really excited about Noah.
For sure. Yeah, you mentioned the NBA, and so I do have to ask you, One, I didn't have it on my bingo card this week that Dusty May would be in the NBA
Crazy,
for the NBA
right?
draft. Crazy. We were live when – were we live?
We were live.
We were live.
Yeah.
I was going to say
Yeah.
we were live. Yeah, it was in the 10 o'clock hour. Paul Fritchner was on the call here. We had to bring him in for the breaking news. What was your reaction to that news and him going to Dallas?
Not totally surprised. Kind of felt like Dusty might end up there at some point. The timing was a little interesting because the job's been open for a while, right? And we all kind of transitioned through. Seems like everybody's staying and has their team together. So I was a little surprised by the timing. Not surprised that he made the jump. And he's a guy that's very offensive focused. Tremendous offensive mind. And so, but like all levels, right? They're going to have to get some more guys in there besides Cooper Flagg to give him his best chance.
Can you imagine being the interim and taking over for Dusty right now at this time? Because that was that's where I went, is like, you want to keep that roster together.
Yeah.
Because they're talented and trying to hold the fort down when the head coach leaves in June.
So the interim was an assistant coach for me at South Carolina, Mike Boynton, former head coach at Oklahoma State. And so, Mike's been in the chair at a major conference, and I think will transition well. And I think the most important thing in today's world, think about this, those guys now are allowed to leave with the new rules if they want to. The portal reopens for them. So keeping somebody on staff that helped recruit them for any returning guys that they know, like Mike, is probably a really smart move on Michigan's part.
Yeah, one of the big talking points this offseason for college basketball as a whole was the expanded March Madness field. How does that affect or help a mid-major like Northern Kentucky or the rest of the Horizon League teams get into that dance?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think at all because the way it was explained to us, and I probably won't be able to do it justice, essentially you're going to get more high majors that get the at-large bids. And even if you qualify as an automatic qualifier at a mid-major, you're probably going to get bumped down to 16 and end up being in the play-in game. Now, the positive of that is you got a chance to win an NCAA tournament game, right, and advance, so to speak. And so that's kind of where it looks like it's headed. So I don't know that it helps the mid-majors that much. I think it's going to help get some power schools, more of them in.
I was worried you were going to say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's funny. We actually had the NCAA at our meetings, and when they explained it, one of our coaches said, well, it sounds like we're going to be a 16 no matter what happens. And they're like, well, not exactly. Yeah, kind of exactly. That's what you just described. So, that part doesn't change. It just takes away a little bit of the maybe if you had a great year, maybe if you get an upset win, you can get to a 14. Looks like that's going to be a little bit harder to do with the new format.
Got to get more 18 and 12 teams into the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. I got to, right. Yeah, everybody can't wait to see them.
I have to ask you about Dwayne Wade. I've been teasing them like crazy. He's my favorite player ever. They're big LeBron fans, and rightfully so. Who doesn't love LeBron? Dwayne Wade's my favorite player ever. So now that we have you here, I got to ask you about you have a D Wade story?
Oh, gosh.
Or 70?
It's a short segment. I think the thing that's most impressive about him, I'll tell you two quick ones. One, from a character standpoint, and obviously really gifted, but what really makes greatness, he was the first non-qualifier that was ever allowed to enter Marquette. And the reason that he got in was because the football coach at his high school, who had never coached him, but was a legend in Chicago at his school, wrote a letter to the president at Marquette, said this is one of the finest young men that's ever walked through these halls. He deserves an opportunity. He's a gifted athlete and an even better young man. Wow. And you look at the trajectory of Marquette University men's basketball because they're probably in the Big East today because Dwayne Wade got to come to Marquette. Old rules where, you had the Prop 48 set out his freshman year. The second one is, it's obvious in the practice. He's not playing his first year. He's sitting out. Man, this guy's pretty talented. We think we've got a pretty good player. The Milwaukee Bucks coaches used to come by practice quite a bit. And one of them came by and literally 15 minutes into the workout one day goes, oh, he's going to play in the NBA. And we're like, really? He's not eligible this year. Are you talking about this guy? He's like, no, I'm talking about Dwayne. He's going to play in the NBA. We're like, and so we all thought he was going to be good the more we coached him, and after hearing people like that say those kind of things, but to know that he's going to be in the conversation no matter what for best ever at his position, when you talk to people about all-time greats at the two-guard spot. I don't know if we saw that coming, and so really a great testament to him, and was great to coach, and is everything that you see. Really an awesome guy.
How many dollars would you have if people like me, if you had $1 for every time someone like me asked you about Wade?
I'd have a lot more.
NIL would be flowing.
A lot more. I wish I could tell you he could barely walk and chew gum when we got him, and without my tutelage, he'd had no shot, but pretty talented guy and a great worker.
How does a player of that caliber affect how you handle coaching him as a coach on the staff?
Man, that is a great question, and I think one of the things I tell people all the time is I think one of the reasons more coaches don't have success is they don't know what it looks like. And we can't know that until it's shown to us, and he did that for me. He was a great player. I learned more coaching him probably than he learned from me, and so one of those things is also how to coach great talent, because that's not something everybody can do.
Absolutely.
He's Darren Horn. Make sure you catch him today. Norse in the Neighborhood, 5:30 to 7 at Highlands Middle School. And also on the Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner.
Yes.
Look at Paul. He's ready. He's going to have the really tough questions. I have the D-Wade questions. I appreciate you coming in.
Great fit. Thanks for having me.
We'll be back with more First Word next right here on The Crown.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with the First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown, built for Cincinnati. First Word for your morning sports, the Working Lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Headline news that I mentioned out of Lexington is that Milan Momcilovic, the best shooter in the sport, he pulled his name out of the NBA draft, and he is going to Kentucky. The NIL rumor mill was that he got around $6.5 million. He chose Kentucky over Louisville and Arizona. St. John's had been in the mix for a little bit, but when they got Tunde Yesufu, he was not going to, Momcilovic was not going to go to St. John. So a huge recruiting win for Mark Pope. For all the flack that Mark Pope has caught this offseason, he has ended up putting together what I believe will be a top 20 team this upcoming season. He posted a picture after Momcilovic committed to Kentucky. Mark Pope posted a picture. He's sitting on the beach on vacation, and he's got 2 playing cards in his hand, and Many Men is playing as the song in the background on Instagram. If you back up this season with a successful season, if you back that picture up with a successful season, that'll be a fun picture to look back on, back when Milan Momcilovic commits to Kentucky. The highest sought after recruit in the portal, pretty much widely regarded as the best shooter in the sport. Shot almost 50% from 3 this past season, and Kentucky is the only school in the country to land 3 transfers rated 95 or higher in Momcilovic, Alex Wilkins, and Zoom Diallo. Kyle Tucker of 24/7 Sports, he pointed out that Kentucky landed the number 1 power forward in Momcilovic, the number 7 point guard in Zoom Diallo, the number 7 combo guard in Alex Wilkins, and the number 19 center in Frank Kepnong. You're looking at a starting lineup right now at Kentucky of Zoom Diallo, Alex Wilkins, Cam Williams, Milan Momcilovic, and then Malachi Moreno, who came back to school. That is a pretty high-level team, given what we were talking about with Kentucky about a month ago.
Hey, I'm Marisa Contipelli, one of the co-hosts on First Word and a features producer here on The Crown, where I will be out and about in Cincinnati bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City. Now, I know I'm from Cleveland, but I love my Cincy sports. I've been in Cincinnati for almost a decade now, spending the last 8 seasons with the Bengals as a team reporter and senior producer. I am so excited to be a part of the team here at The Crown, and I can't wait to bring you the latest from around the city.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. First word rolls on. Shout out to Darren Horn in the NKU Norse. We're having Darren in studio. If you want more from him, make sure you check out the Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner, because he's literally in our podcast studio right now recording a fresh episode of The Rundown, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube, the Polo. Got to talk about the Polo.
I mean,
fire.
Continues the run that we're on of our guests having unbelievable merch.
Yeah.
Ted's hoodie was great. The Skyline Orlando's training day shirt. Stack 'em. Barrett Carter stacking days throughout the offseason.
You would like Brian. Didn't he have an ex? Did he have an ex?
It was a great
polo?
golf course. He was logo maxing for sure at the desk. But it was a great golf course polo. And then great polo by Darren Horn there at NKU. Black
The
on black.
stack 'em, I tried to look. I need to ask Barrett, because I Googled it. I was like, where?
I found it.
You found it?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's
Stacking days. It's working during the offseason, training camp stuff.
Guess who's ordering that? And I got to get one of those polos from Darren.
Yes.
I think the black on black tops all of them.
Oh, very
really
easily.
liked it, yeah.
It's
Like,
clean.
And I was thinking, like, all right, well, could this just be black on black? Like, I like it.
The
Anyways.
rubberized logo, too.
Yep.
All over it.
Yeah, anyways. All right, that's enough talking about
It's polo talk.
Welcome into Polo Talk here on First Word.
That might work.
Polo Lodolo. No, though. Hopefully Nick Lodolo is okay. We'll dive back into the Reds in a bit. Contipelli's countdown in 10 minutes, but we got to talk NBA draft. It's a natural segue from Darren Horn talking NBA, talking how Dwayne Wade made LeBron James' career, to now the NBA draft, where AJ DeBonsa and all of these other guys are trying to be the next LeBron and Wade and the next NBA stars. The NBA draft yesterday, no surprises in the top four. I was wrong. I thought that Boozer was going to go 2. He ended up going 3. Shocker. Good for Memphis. I think it's a good fit there. He's going to be productive. DeBonsa 1. I thought that was a lock. Darren Peterson at 2. Really interesting, since Danny Ainge is the one making that call, buying in on Darren Peterson. Don't be shocked. He's the guy who picked Jason Tatum over Markelle Fultz. Like, he does this. Darren Peterson, I might be buying some of that stock now.
I don't know that I could have more Darren Peterson stock. I love Darren Peterson. We talked about this very early in our time working together before the studio was even a thing. I thought Darren Peterson was going to be the number 1 pick in this draft for most of the college basketball season. I think he's the best player in this draft class. But when you're in a position like the Wizards are in, you can't take a gamble like that on a kid who potentially doesn't love basketball. That's the concern about Darren Peterson right now, is that he's not committed to the game of basketball. And we've seen for previous number 1 picks like Ben Simmons and DeAndre Ayton have that really unravel their careers early. So I understand the Wizards going with the safer pick in DeBonsa, but I love Darren Peterson, and I think him in Utah is going to be perfect for him. It's going to give him the opportunity to focus on basketball, get as good as he can be, and they have some exciting bigs in Utah as well, with Walker Kessler and some of the other. Jaren Jackson Jr. they just traded for. Lauri Markkanen's still there, so they're an exciting team, and if he can be a score-first guard early in his career, they can get in the mix sooner rather than later, I think. That's one of my favorite picks of the entire draft is Peterson at 2, because I think he's so special. But that means Boozer went 3 and wasn't the only pick by the Grizzlies in the draft. I think they had one of the best drafts, if anyone, to get 2 really meaningful players in the first round for a team who's probably looking to move off of Ja Morant this offseason, so needs some added talent as well in Memphis.
Yeah, and when you look at the top 5 picks for the second consecutive year, all freshmen in the top 5, first time in the modern draft era that this has happened now in back-to-back years. And I don't think it was a surprise, at least not to me, that AJ ended up going first over there to the Wizards. My biggest question, though, is will he be the next player? Hasn't happened since Kyrie Irving in 2011, but the last number 1 overall pick to win an NBA championship with the team that drafted him. It's been a while. Like I just said, Kyrie was the last to do it. Could the Washington Wizards be building something now with AJ over there?
Yeah, I think so. Here's what I would do. I would pull the Cooper flag that Dallas did. What did they do? They got the number 1 pick. They picked Cooper Flag, and they traded AD. If I'm the Wizards, I'm trading AD. You're not in win now mode. I get it. You can compete a little bit, or you could get something for a guy that in 2 years might not have any value. You take advantage of one or multiple desperate teams, the Timberwolves, trying to keep things afloat with Anthony Edwards, which means they're desperate. The Warriors, Steph Curry's 38 years old, and I don't like to think about his mortality, but he's just a human. And so, like, you call some of these teams that need to win right now, hey, maybe the Lakers are willing to overpay. That's what I would do if I'm the Wizards, is I would hit reset a little bit more. Obviously, they're committing to Trae Young. I think they're going to do a Wizards thing and go
half in.
As in as they can with a number 1 overall pick and Anthony Davis and Trae Young, and they're going to look and they're going to be like, oh, look at us. We're going to be good, and they're going to win 44 games. Just back up a little and be like, hey, let's get some assets for AD. Because I think, as weird as it sounds, I think they can get more for AD than they paid.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Off-season, teams get desperate.
For sure.
Cash in.
And he's also still, I mean, I get
He's
Anthony
good.
Davis
He's
has had
really
injuries
good.
and stuff. He's a really, really good player when he's on the floor.
I didn't say I didn't want him to be teammates.
No,
with Steph Curry.
I know. It wasn't you. I feel like a lot of the conversation around Anthony Davis over the last few years has been bizarre. I mean, the Luka trade, people viewed that as giving the Lakers Luka for free. The Mavs got Anthony Davis, who is an all-star player. I get it was an overpay, but the overlooking of Anthony Davis is crazy to me. I was on your same page for sure since that move was made, since he's going to probably demand a max extension this offseason. But after you pay Trae Young over $220 million, are you pseudo-rebuilding? I don't know. It puts him in a very, very weird spot. I was shocked by the contract to Trae Young, but I am really excited about this Wizards young core. They have a lot of exciting players already there. Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, really, really exciting. Trey Johnson joins Trae Young in that backcourt from Texas last year, one of the best shooters in last year's rookie class. And I think they're really building something in Washington that could be as high as a play-in team this year in the East and maybe make a little noise.
Yeah. They could, but that's why if I'm them, I'm like, all right,
for sure.
That's
probably the ceiling for this current roster.
And what's the point of that?
For sure.
You might as well cash in a little bit. Now, they're paying Trae Young.
Yeah.
So that's part of it too. But I look at it, Caleb Wilson rounded out the top 4. Not a shock there.
Love him.
Could he be the best player?
I absolutely think so.
Like that's what's so interesting about these top 4. Like obviously, Debanza could. Devonta's got all the skill that you need, the size, everything like that. I get why Washington's in. Peterson, we talked about it. If he goes in and works, Anthony Edwards had that same coming out. Oh, does he wants to be a football player. He was talking about this and gets to the league and completely transforms Minnesota. Like, can completely happen. Cameron Boozer, it's in his blood, literally. His dad was awesome. And then Caleb Wilson, any of the 4 of those guys could end up being the best player in this year's draft.
Yeah, and those top 4 were in a clear tier of their own.
Yep.
And then Keaton Wagler at 5, also the odds-on favorite to be picked 5. So chalk for the top 5 picks there. And I think something that, you tell me if you think I'm wrong here, James, but Debanza's the one out of those top 4 for me that would be the least effective on a winning team. He has to be your number 1. He has to be the scorer. And if he goes into that and builds into that player in the league, great. That's awesome. And Washington certainly made the right pick. But Peterson, Boozer, and Wilson, I think, could all be role players on championship teams. They have that ability defensively. Boozer's great on the block. I think Devonta needs the ball in his hands, and obviously the Wizards need that. But when looking at the rest of these guys in this class, I think those other 3 give more to championship. Not that any of those teams are championship ready, but in terms of plug and play, they might have a little bit less to have to learn right away.
I definitely feel that way about Boozer. And that's why I thought maybe the Jazz would go with the safe. I think he's very safe. I think he's just going to be a good player. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm worried about him.
You think he's going to bust? I think there's
I don't know that he's going to bust. I just don't know that the ceiling is as high as Peterson or Devonta.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
But it's good. Carlos Boozer.
He's just such a physical player in college. And if you can't translate the physicality to bigger, stronger guys in the NBA, that's a word.
But if he's Carlos Boozer, he's awesome, and he's an all-star, but he's not, and he might not be his dad, but if he's 85% of his dad, it's a safe play. Like, that's what
Absolutely. And I think all 4 of these guys are incredibly safe plays, and something I was paying attention to.
You think Peterson's safe?
I do. I think Peterson is the best player in this draft
I know you think that. Yeah, but safe.
Yeah. Okay, so
is he Andrew Wiggins?
Maybe rephrasing it. It's a gamble that I'm incredibly comfortable taking.
Ant or Wiggins?
Yeah.
And Wiggins was awesome for Golden State for that.
It was still great with the Heat and Timberwolves. So he turned into
Did you say great?
He was really good for the Heat and Timberwolves. So that's what I mean, though. He can find a good role
and
be a solid
listening live, I'm smirking at Jacob. The one that I hate, my bad beat, my least favorite landing spot of all. I'm sorry, Darius Acuff. It was nice knowing you.
Why?
It's Sacramento.
Who's he going to lead to the finals in 5 years? Halliburton with the Pacers, Fox with the Spurs. Where are they going to trade him to lead someone to the finals in 5 years?
The Miami Heat with Giannis, and I don't know. But there was so much smoke about him going to Sacramento. And I know Cincinnati, they used to be the Royals, and some people said, there are Kings fans here.
Yeah.
But hate the landing spot for him.
Yeah.
I love the player, hate that he's there.
Shocked that the Nets took Michael Brown over Darius Acuff. I mean, I really couldn't believe that whatsoever. I thought it was going to be closer to a coin flip between Wagler and Acuff at the 5-6 spot, but for Michael Brown to go over Acuff and Kingston Flemings, I was absolutely floored. And I like Michael Brown quite a bit, and I'm not the highest on Acuff, but I thought that was one of the most slam dunk things, in my opinion, was that Acuff was going to be, at worst, the third guard taken, ended up being the fourth, which I think was a huge shocker for a lot of people. But that first guard after Peterson was one I had my eyes on. The local team here in Cincinnati, the Pacers, just an hour and a half away, traded that 5th pick to the Clippers earlier this year. And depending on who went 5, if one of those 4 had fallen, that trade's viewed a lot differently. So Keaton Wagler, Benedict Mathurin, and a future first for Ivica Zubac. I'm making that trade every day of the week if I'm the Pacers.
Marisa, how bummed are you that the Cavs traded out and didn't take a player? Or do you like it? You excited about tonight?
It makes me excited about tonight because they didn't have a pick going in day 2.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have, stuck around and then pick 29, but I don't hate it. I don't love that, part of the deal. It's a 2032 second rounder. I'm like, you gotta wait a while now for that one.
Goodness.
But I don't hate it. I'm fine with it. It also depends who's there at 34.
Yeah. Knicks traded back 3 times yesterday, got 5 second-round picks.
Second-round picks are candy.
Oh, it's the best.
NBA candy. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. But they're included. Like, I remember when I was covering the Cavs, they traded 4 second-round picks to get back in the first round to get Kevin Porter Jr. And it was like, at the time, they were like, oh, this kid's so talented. I was like, no, Darius is the guy. Darius, never been more right about that. Before you get to your guy, Philon, Baba Miller to the Cavs at 34. Write it in
That'd
pen.
be awesome.
Write it in pen. Stay in the state.
Currently listed as the number 4 available player.
It fits.
It does.
And they need a
Paul was telling us about it yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alley-oop.
That'd be perfect. A lot of great players still left out there. Ryan Conwell, which a lot of people around here will obviously know, coming out of Louisville now, 5th best available. But Isaiah Evans was a guy from Duke that was expected to go last night, maybe a fringe lottery pick, who's still on the board now. Great perimeter defender, great shooter. So someone's going to get really lucky with him. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the first pick tonight with the Knicks.
Yeah, wouldn't be either. But talk about your guy, Philon. You have 30 seconds. Talk about how DJ Hodge and Jacob get the bond over an Alabama guy going to Philly. Go Sixers.
Yeah, no, one of the more mind-boggling things of last night was Philon falling to pick 22 to the Sixers. And there was a lot of conversation about him potentially going as high as number 9 to the Warriors, going in the lottery. And people got scared off by his weight. Philon, one of the lightest guards in this draft class. Not a lot of success for players in his mold, but the metrics love him. He led a team in Alabama 2 years in a row to Sweet 16s, Elite 8s, being one of those best teams in college basketball both the times he was there, and continued to grow through both years. Was a facilitator in year 1, became a scorer and defender in year 2. I think the Sixers got the steal of the draft. No way around it for me. Philon at 22. People are going to be talking about those 21 before him for a long time because I'm hard-pressed to find 7 or 8 that are better than him in this draft class, and he ended in a spot that I think he's going to be able to prove that in Philly. Him and Maxey are going to be an awesome backcourt.
Look at you. Look at you. I can't wait for you to bring in the Sixers jersey. It's going to happen.
Been a Sixers fan since day 1.
Yep, clearly.
Your fandom just confuses me, but
it's time to switch gears. It's time to switch gears. A lot of basketball this hour. I love it. The basketball hour. Up next, it is time for Contipelli's Countdown right here on The Crown.
They started getting all the additions, and it's okay, Tyler Tejada, great, 17 points at Towson. He should come in and give you 13 or 14 as a wing who can shoot the 3. But the piece was missing of who's going to run the offense, like who's going to be the lead guard. So when it came down to Tylen Riley, when you're looking at that, okay, he's committing this day. Who else is left in the portal if you don't get him? So they kind of threw all their chips in, and they're able to get a guy who gets to the line a ton.
But I mean, hey, look, another team that we cover on this show, Kentucky, they put their chips in the middle of the table for a high school guy, Tyron Stokes, and that didn't work out. So it is nice when you push your chips into the middle of the table and you get the guy, because Tylan Riley is a dynamic, game-changing, playmaking type guy who will completely alter what this team would have been without him and now what they will be with him.
Yeah, but I mean, do you want your 1 and 2 to be Talon Kinney and Tyron Stokes at Kansas? I don't know if I do.
Yeah,
that seems like it can go awry pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Riley's a great player, and I love the amount of guards they brought in that shot 80% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
Now that's something UC fans are going to have to get used to.
A good
People
free throw
making their
shooting
free
team.
throws. Are you kidding me? You have Sean Abayev come in and he's shooting like 50% from the line through 15 games. And it's like, what? I think they're actually cursed. But that is going to be a big part of their offense. And that's one of my biggest gripes with Wes Miller last year is he had Day Thomas, who made 90% of his free throws, and he averaged like 1.5 free throws a game.
Yeah.
It's like, get downhill, get to the line, and make that be a part of your offense. That just wasn't something that I thought Wes ever wanted to be a part of his offense.
Hi, my name is Elly Jones. Just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this grand adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name is Jacob Tissot, and I'm a co-host of First Word from 7 to 11 every morning right here on the Crown Network, where we will break down the biggest stories in Cincinnati sports. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama, where I spent 4 seasons working for the football team as a student assistant, contributing to the 2020 National Championship and 3 SEC championships. I'm a Cincinnati native, a St. Xavier High School graduate, and will bring a local perspective and passion to covering the Bengals, Reds, and everything in between. I'm excited to have you join us on First Word.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. It is time for Jacob Tissot's favorite part of the show. Yeah. I'm James Rapien. He's Jacob Tisket. That's what Gabe calls you. Jacob Tisket.
And not my favorite part of the show.
No, not at all. I just ruined it, but it is time with Marisa Contipelli for Contipelli's Countdown.
Jacob, I appreciate it. James, are you saying this is not your favorite segment
I'm
part
glad
of the show?
you caught that.
Yeah.
I knew you would notice.
Yes.
It was definitely by design. It was absolutely by design to phrase it that way. Yeah, it's our last countdown of the week.
It is. It's also my favorite part of the show. And hopefully Jacob likes this first topic, because I have to give a little love and shout out to one of my favorite coaches of all time at Ohio State. Yes, I'm a Buckeye, and I am so excited that Jim Tressel will be joining the Ring of Honor at Ohio Stadium. Will be honored during their season opener on September 5th. Tressel is becoming just the 3rd coach to join this honor, joining Paul Brown and Woody Hayes. Great recognition for Jim Tressel here.
Hold on. I can't believe you right now. I can't believe for Jacob. Jacob might have been born when I was watching the Ohio State handle business against Miami when Jim Tressel won the national championship, and I was cheering for Craig Krenzel and Chris Gamble and Maurice Clarett and those guys to get it done. So my goodness, the reason I love Jim Tressel too, and this is well deserved. I can't believe just
this is the
for
most
Jacob.
I've ever heard you talk about Ohio State
Just
football,
for
mind
Jacob.
you.
No. I watched the national championship in 2002 on a 13-inch Panasonic TV in my room, and I couldn't believe the game was over until it wasn't with that pass interference. No. This is for me as much as it's for Jake.
That was probably the last time you watched that game. I've watched that game 30 times in the last 20 years.
It was not the last time I've watched that game.
Great
it was
to
the
see.
first time.
Great to see Tressel getting his retire. Great to see him in a vest. I wish it was a sweater vest. It looks like a rain slicker, but he'll certainly have the sweater vest on when he's getting inducted, I'm sure. It's great to see. Certainly one of the best coaches and deserving of this honor, no question.
No doubt about it. And the way things ended, ridiculous.
Yeah, we could do a whole hour on that.
Ridiculous. Obviously, we all feel that way. And so, one,
NIL, but no tattoos.
Congrats to Jim Tressel. Two, proof that I don't hate Ohio State. It's just you guys wear on me a little.
You don't hate Ohio State.
That's
you
all.
just hate us.
I'm not really sure what's happening here on First Word right now. I am stunned at everything James just revealed and shared.
That could just be a back and forth here.
Honestly, same. Yeah, that's why I'm like,
I
James,
could
you
give
can
more
say that. You can say
detail.
this
I
first
was eating
topic out.
Cheez-Its.
What?
Shout out Jack. There's plenty of things we could go.
You are full of surprises, my friend. And we're just going to move on countdown now because I'm shocked at the conversation we just had. But we just talked about Darren Peterson being selected number 2 in the NBA draft last night. Well, check out this. His brother Daryl signed with the Rams earlier this offseason, and they now become the first brothers to enter the NFL and NBA in the same year. A lot of great stuff happening in that Peterson household.
This is awesome. Definitely feels like Daryl Peterson's made up. like his brother Daryl. I was like, there's no way he was in the draft, and it's because he signed. Because I'm the NFL draft more than NBA draft for sure.
I think he's a real person, James.
Obviously,
it's a really cool stat.
Obviously,
that they both made it to professional sports in the same offseason.
She said it. I was like, wait, what? Daryl Peterson.
What am I supposed to do
I
with
don't
this
know.
now?
Poor Daryl. Great
I thought he had a
accomplishment.
great career.
Living out a dream,
Living
making
out
an
his
NFL.
dream.
Like,
Have
come
we
on.
talked about Daryl Peterson? I didn't know.
He's in Countdown.
I know. I thought he was. I'm just giving you my instant reaction to Countdown. Something personal.
This just goes to show
reaction
they
is
don't know
that's
what the
really
topics
cool.
are ahead of time.
It is really cool. There's no doubt it's really cool.
This does just prove it, though. That these are not ran through beforehand.
No.
Now I can't
Why
wait to
would
get his
they
take
be?
on the next one because we're going to move on to number 3 here on
played for Little
Countdown.
Pickle, by the way.
And this is something that just got my blood boiling when I saw this come across my social feed. Jazz Chisholm of the New York Yankees just has a lollipop out there on the field. It's one thing if you want to chew gum, you have sunflower seeds, okay. Get this out of here. I could not stand it when I saw this.
Hit a home run last night. He ran into the dugout, grabbed the bucket of lollipops, and started shaking it in front of the camera. So I think he knows everyone's take on this one. And I mean, I just watched this and see how far the Yankees have come since I was a kid and growing up. I mean, used to be no facial hair, now he's got a beard. Used to be no hair out of the hat, now he's got the dreads. The hat's crooked. He's sucking on a lollipop at second base. It's kind of crazy to see this in a Yankees uniform.
Yeah. A couple of things. One, on the surface, don't care. I really don't. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't get me going. But you can't be hitting 230 and have a lollipop. You can't. 330, batting at 330 and hitting. Let's see. Right now, 12 home runs on the season. It's solid. If you're leading the league in home runs, you can do that. If you're one of the best players on your team, you can do that. And I get it. He's a multi-time All-Star, all those things, but. Nah, man. You got to be hitting more than 2.
He said before the season he was going to go for 40-40 this year. It's close. 12 home runs, 23 stolen bases. Not very close.
Can't hit 230.
I don't care
all the
what you're hitting.
analytics-
I don't want to see that.
Sure, totally get it.
You
But
could just choke on it.
If you're hitting 330,
Yeah.
you got 25. You got 25 home runs, and you're awesome, and we're talking about you. Like if Elly reaches his full potential, could he get away with that one day? I'm probably not going to care much. But you got to be awesome, not just good. Because if you're good and you're doing the lollipop
If you're
thing,
the best player in the world sucking on a lollipop at shortstop, I'm going to be upset.
It just comes off as disrespectful
Yeah.
to the game. It just does. Even Aaron Boone was upset about this one after the game too, and when he was asked about it post game. There's no place for that. And to Jacob's point, a massive safety concern. I mean, could you imagine if Jamar Chase was running routes with the lollipop?
No.
Come
but
on.
it is
I know it's different. It's different.
Yes.
But
Take a
Is
short
it?
hop off the chin.
How
Choke
many
on a
corners?
lollipop.
How many corners one-on-one? Just one-on-one, no safety help, nothing. Could guard Jamar while he has a lollipop. 1-on-1, because it's a very, very small list. Not many corners guard Jamar one-on-one ever.
Just the same list that could guard him one-on-one without a lollipop?
What does the lollipop
What
do?
is it changing about Jamar?
And that's kind of the point where I'm not up in arms about Jazz doing this. I get it. It's going to be one of these things, and that's fine. I understand you shouldn't do it. It's not much different than sunflower seeds. It's not much different.
I think the player who it is blows this up quite a bit. I mean, Jazz is in these types of conversations, it seems like every month or every other month, so just gets a little bit more of a spotlight on it.
Can't hit 230, my man.
Yeah.
All right, well, already in Countdown, we saw the Peterson brothers living out their dreams. Well, what about these pups, as the Marlins had one of their Bark in the Park nights, and you see the cute little white pup getting fed some hot dogs, but don't mind the poor pup in the background as we zoom in on them. This has been making its rounds on socials. There's been a lot of memes, and, poor little doggo just wants a little hot dog.
See, I was going to say these pups are real. And then the one is getting completely ignored.
We need more dogs.
We do need more dogs.
I'm all for the dog.
How are you going to ignore the one?
Put him in on the fun.
That's
a dog.
I mean, he's being so nice. He or she,
know.
whoever, in the back, just hanging out. Is that at a different row?
Yes, it's the row behind.
Okay, so that, man.
It looks like it at least.
Are there any problems here with dogs eating dogs?
Maybe that's why the pup is staring
seems
like...
not right.
Just, ooh.
Kind of offensive?
Yeah. I'm not
Are we
out.
Out on dogs
Out
eating dogs.
on cannibalism?
No,
Oh,
dogs eating
come on.
dogs.
Dogs eating dogs?
Come on.
Dogs eating dogs.
It's a dog-eat-dog world.
You had it, and then you went too far. You went too far. Not me, but those dogs are real.
Confirmed. The dogs are real there. And topping off Countdown for this Wednesday, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the 2016 NBA Championship. And I have loved every bit of what I've seen of the guys getting together for this reunion. Kevin Love posted this on social, that a little hangover-esque kind of type style of a little recap of their reunion tour and trip. And I just thought this was phenomenal.
I love it. I've not missed a single video from this trip. Kevin Love's Instagram story looks like a sorority girl at a concert. The dashes are periods around the top, and I'm tapping through, watching every single one. It's been unbelievable content from possibly my favorite NBA team of all time, certainly one of the most fun championships to ever watch, and to see these guys back together is great. And apparently, Kyrie's going to link up with them when they get back to the States. So that's fun.
Sure about that? I'll believe that when I see it.
He's busy working still, which I get. LeBron, I'm gonna need you to. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's cool that they're enjoying their time, and it's cool that they've stayed close. Obviously, a lot of them are retired. Kevin Love hanging on to his career. I think LeBron's gonna continue his career. So, no, this is cool, and it is one of the most iconic, not just championships, but comebacks in NBA history, coming back from 3-1.
Wait, can you remind me how that series played? Who'd they beat?
They beat the Warriors.
And
they beat Steph Curry.
Thank you. That was all I wanted.
Oh, was it? How many times did the Cavs beat Steph Curry?
Okay, now we have
Did
a
we
lot
want
more
to
to
count
get.
them?
Four times in 2016.
If you want to count them, we can count them then. We can count them. 2017?
See, I just needed the one.
2018?
That was it.
Steph
2015.
You know the
How many
irony?
does LeBron have?
The irony of this is 3-1. It's like come back from 3-1. Steph beat LeBron 3 out of 4. 3-1 is the total.
So if they go best of 7, LeBron's going to come back and win them all. Wow.
I like that.
I'm in.
Yeah, let's take that.
They're going to join forces in like 2 weeks.
Sign me up.
Can't wait.
Sign me
Oh,
up.
I can't see that happening, but there is still a lot to see here on First Word, because when we return, we need to get back to our What's the Word poll question of the day. Did the NFL get it right with their decision? Lots to get into right here on The Crown. We're with you all the way until 11 o'clock. for joining us here on The Crown. I'm Marisa Contipelli, and it is time to put FC Cincinnati goalkeeper Roman Celentano in the hot seat and ask him some rapid-fire questions. And I'm not really sure how these are going to stack up to what you're used to facing over there at TQL. If it's going to be easier, if they're going to be tougher. But are you up for the challenge?
Sure am.
All right, we're going to kick it off. Growing up, was goalkeeper always the position you wanted to play?
When I started playing soccer, yes, but before that I was playing baseball, football, American sports, and I never thought soccer would be a thing, but after the 2010 World Cup, I was like, this is what I want to do, and I was good with my hands, so it was just goalkeeper after that, nothing on the field.
So what is the best or favorite save of your career?
Probably the 2023 Save of the Year against Columbus. That was a big moment for, myself, the team, to win at home against our rivals, and it kind of set us on the path to go on and winning the Shield, so it was big for me.
Who is the toughest striker that you have faced?
It's hard not to say Messi, so I'll go with that.
What is the hardest part about being a goalie that fans might not realize?
It's a lot to it that I don't think people understand or realize, but I would just say consistency, keeping, it's not about having a good game than having a bad game. It's about being okay all the time, and I feel like it's hard to do that, so when you have a goalkeeper that can do that, it's pretty impressive, so I give those guys a lot of credit.
What's more stressful, penalty kicks or going through airport security?
Airport security.
That was a fast answer on that one. Why?
Yeah. There's no pressure on a penalty. You can only be the hero as a goalie, so I like penalties because it gives you a chance to be the hero, and maybe, I'd like to have some back in my career in MLS, but I don't mind facing them. I get more stressed out in other parts of the game, so that's no problem for me.
Hello, my name is Natalie Jones, and welcome to The Nat Jones Show. After retiring from my 10-year radio career here in Cincinnati, I caught the bug, and I'm happy to bring it here to The Crown. I love captivating people who have captivating stories to tell. And the thing about it is, everybody has a story to tell. All you gotta do is empower them to do so. That is exactly what I'm doing here. Because life is better when we all stay curious and we all stay connected.
Cincinnati means business. And what does that mean for you and your community? The Working Lunch, every weekday at noon, takes you behind the local business scene with local headlines, interviews with owners and local leaders. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Oh, it's real. It is real. Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. Time is very, very real.
Are you real?
Are you counting yet?
Are you real?
I'd be counting if I was her.
We just did countdown. We already counted.
There we go. All right. We just did countdown. Jacob not touching that one. You know what we are going to do? Dive into our What's the Word poll question of the day, and it involves Brendan Sorsby, because Brendan Sorsby thought he was going to get to the NFL after being declared ineligible by the NCAA and all of the things that went around. And my goodness, if you would have told me in January when he was deciding, all right, am I going to Texas Tech? What am I doing? That this was going to be the fallout, just crazy, but things change fast. The poll question is simple. Did the NFL get it right when they declined to hold a supplemental draft for Brendan Sorsby? 81.4% of you say yes. He bet on his team. 18.6% of you say they should hold a draft, that the NFL is getting it wrong here. So basically a fifth say Sorsby's getting done dirty by the league. Meanwhile, 80+% say, hey, he bet on his team, shouldn't be eligible to get into the league this season.
Yeah, I think this is pretty cut and dry, and I like that over 80% of the audience here is agreeing that they shouldn't hold this draft and they shouldn't let Sorsby in. And I'm thrilled the NFL made this decision. I didn't have a ton of faith that they would, even though the whole time I've maintained that it is the only and the right decision to be made this year. If Brendan Sorsby played in the NFL this season, it's not all that different from him playing in college. There are no repercussions for his actions. He is playing football at the highest possible league in 2026, despite gambling on his own team. Now, when 2027 rolls around, there'll be another discussion about eligibility and draft and all that, and that's great, and we'll have it then. But when it comes to 2026, this is more than fair in my mind as a punishment for what he chose to do during his time in Indiana.
I'm with you, and I'm with the majority of our poll voters there. Yeah, I think the NFL did get it right. He bet on his team. He broke rules. And looking at our chat here on YouTube, which makes sure you are active with us, and we want to know if you agree with the poll question or not. A couple of our viewers agree. David, yes, the NFL got it right. AJ, people have done arguably worse things than were in the NFL. Second chances should be hard, but he needs to show a turned leaf. And that was something we had talked about where his camp kind of feels like they went about this in all the wrong ways. And I just wish Sorsby would take accountability in a little bit of a bigger way here.
Yeah, and even if, because they thought they were with the counseling.
Yes.
Right? You got to be 3 steps ahead if you're going to get out of this. And so the moment you decide to do that, and they decided to do that before things went public, and when it went public, it was like, oh, well, he's going to go to counseling for his gambling addiction and all of those things. Right then, so whenever that was, months ago, all of this scenario should have been laid out, this scenario should have been laid out in the supplemental draft application process. Should have already been done. It shouldn't have felt like a scramble drill. And part of what the NFL is saying is, hey, it feels like you just threw this together and we don't feel comfortable with it, so we're going to say no because this is all for you. The supplemental draft would be for you. And it's the NFL. It's an honor to play in the league. It's hard to get in the league. You can't just walk in the league and do whatever you want and say, oh, well, fine, then I'll just go pro. It comes off as being a snotty, bratty kid. Whether or not that's the case doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. That's how it comes off. And so if you're going to have all these scenarios and try to navigate through it, fine, but it's up to you and your team to make sure you have the plan all laid out, ready to go. The moment the NCAA said no to Brendan Sorsby, they should have had a heck of a case ready to go to present to the league. They clearly didn't. It felt like a scramble drill, and Football Reference, Sorsby's team got sacked.
There we go. And instead of paraphrasing, I'm just going to read the quote from Goodell in the letter here. It's exactly what we've all been saying the whole time. Participation in the NFL is a privilege that carries with it significant responsibilities, including accountability. By all accounts, you are a talented player with the potential for future success. We encourage you to focus on preparing for the possible entry into the NFL through the 2027 NFL annual draft. And I think that is a huge piece of this whole thing. The NFL is not suspending Sorsby from the 2026 season. They're not holding an extra draft for him to get in now that he realizes he can't play college football. If he wanted to enter the 2026 draft, he absolutely could have, and he would have been picked. Now he has the same opportunity in 2027, and I'm sure we'll see him in that QB class next year. But the NFL does not need to bend over backwards to make Brendan Sorsby's mistakes go away.
Speaking of the NFL, the Bengals have a big position battle that's going under the radar. We'll get to that next, right here on First Word.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the working lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
I think that that's a real thing there. But do you think first round?
No, I'm selling that too. I have the same argument that you just made. If he would have gone, he should have gone this year because the quarterback class was way lighter this year than what we're going to see next year. So if you're going to be a first round, if you have a first round grade, why not go this year? It doesn't add up to me.
And also, if Brendan Sorsby at the very least knew he had gambled on college football. We can argue about who else knew or what else. If that's hanging over your head and you go in the portal and you're this big name, $5 million quarterback and all that, you have to have some level of assumption that could come out at some point. If that is in your back pocket and you're getting first, second round reviews, go to the league and not have to worry about any of this thing.
So you don't, and we just heard Pete Thamel say second round. I buy that teams are going to consider second round. First round, too much, I agree. I think second round, especially if they had a first round grade on them or close to it, they will jump at that right now. And some of these teams that either one, have a need at quarterback, or two, have their quarterback, but don't have Joe Flacco, don't have the best quarterback room in the league, where the Bengals go from Burrow, Flacco to Josh Johnson. I mean, it's the most experienced quarterback room in the league. If you don't have that and you need a proven backup, like if Ty Simpson didn't end up with the Rams, let's just say, and that was one of the shocks of the draft, I think the Rams would be in. The Lions think that they could be in. Like teams like that, heck, does Minnesota say, you know what, we really like this guy. We don't have to give up a first round pick to get him. I do buy that day 2 pick very much in play. I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a second rounder. There's just too much smoke. Too much.
My name is James Rapien, and I host First Word every weekday morning, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Prior to joining The Crown Network, I covered the Bengals for Sports Illustrated for 6 seasons. I also am the founder of Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube and wrote the book, Enter the Jungle, A History of the Cincinnati Bengals. Couldn't be more excited to join you every weekday morning for First Word right here on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
First Word rolls on a hump day edition right here on The Crown. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11.
Always open.
Right here on The Crown. Look at that.
Took 3 hours into the show to get
oh,
to
no.
it.
a long time.
Yeah.
I stayed ready, always.
She did stay ready.
Just like Jamar Chase.
I don't have to get ready.
That's the cut. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and you stay ready with us every single weekday live on YouTube. We're going to get to some of your responses coming up this hour, plus live on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network, streaming on X, on Facebook, at First Word Cincy on socials, and of course, wherever you get your podcasts. And it's not just us. No. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley every single weekday, noon to 1. The Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner, who has a special guest coming your way, so make sure you check that out. And the Nat Jones Show, and Nat tries that as well, all right here on The Crown. Let's dive into some interesting comments. I think Greg Cosell is probably the best, making sure I don't alienate any future guests, but I'm going to say it anyway, because hopefully he is a future guest. Greg Cosell is probably the best film analyst out there. I don't think he's swayed by emotion at all. I think he watches the film and then is like, oh, well, this guy's good, this guy's bad, here's what I see. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I absolutely love him. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday. We were putting this clip, and he's one of my favorites as well.
So
he's great.
And it's because I think he's literally looking at the All-22 and then making observations. Not that he's always right, but I think it's really insightful. He was on the Ross Tucker podcast, and they were talking about this Bengals revamped defense, a defense that we've spent hours talking about. and made some interesting comments about a potential position battle in the secondary. Here's Greg Cosell.
Yeah, well, when you score 30-plus points and lose those games, you have to invest in your defense. So we'll see how all that plays out. I've always liked Brian Cook. I think he stabilizes the safety position. We'll see who plays the other safety. Jordan Battle has been very up and down in his short career with the Bengals. They brought in Kyle Duggar. I think that'll be a training camp battle. Duggar's a certain kind of player, obviously much better closer to the line of scrimmage. But obviously, if Dexter Lawrence is Dexter Lawrence, I mean, that really shores up the interior because at his best, he's a top 3 D tackle in the league.
We've talked about Kyle Duggar. We've talked about Jordan Battle, but that's Greg Cosell on the Ross Tucker podcast. You guys buying that this is a training camp battle? Pun intended. Jordan Battle, Kyle Duggar? Obviously, everyone knows about Brian Cook and that stability word, the fact that Greg Cosell used it, I'm like, all right, well, we could keep using it because we've used it a ton. But the other side of this, Kyle Duggar signed before the draft, kind of an under-the-radar signing on defense. I think he's going to matter. Do you buy that it's a true positional battle?
In training camp, no. I'm selling that. And it's not anything against Duggar. I think he's going to have an awesome role on this defense and potentially compete for that starting role at some point this season. But I think that conversation only happens if Jordan Battle allows it to happen. I think he's going to have the leg up in training camp, be out there with Brian Cook for that safety duo to start. And then if things, are unraveling early in the season, if he hasn't taken a clear step forward from years past, if Brian Cook's not helping with the progression as much as would be expected, I think then, sure, Duggar could slide in instead of Battle. But I fully expect Jordan Battle to be the starter at least early in training camp.
Yeah, I have to sell that this is a true training camp battle for that safety position. The only way, I agree with you, Jacob, the only way where I feel like it would be a true battle is if Jordan Battle massively regresses from what we've seen over the last couple of years, where we saw what he could do, in flashes during his rookie campaign. And, I really do think a lot of the struggles he had seen on the field last year is because he wasn't having that same, consistent safety play with the guy next to him. I think that's absolutely going to change with Brian Cook on the field. And I'm a little confused, though, in looking at, just the numbers. And I don't think Kyle Duggar had a great year last year between, being with Pittsburgh and the Patriots. I mean, overall, his PFF grade was a 53 for 2025. Battles was a 61. And you look at Duggar's numbers over the years with his PFF grade, his career best came in 2022 and he had over a 78. But each year since, it's regressed quite a bit. And so I get it. Kyle Duggar is going to be a great, value piece, a great depth piece to this secondary and safety room. I feel like he is on, the steeper end, not steeper end, but just like the decline of his career. I mean, he's going into year 7 now in the league. I don't think he's the same safety that he was back in the early days when he was with New England.
I think it's a nuanced conversation, and it starts with Kyle Duggar had to switch teams, switch roles. The Mike Vrabel fit clearly didn't work on that contract with New England. He ends up in Pittsburgh, and it's more of a reserve kind of role. And then he had to deal with Jalen Ramsey, who got absolutely cooked by Jamar Chase, so much so they had to switch positions and put him at safety more. And Jalen just can't. I can't believe Jamar let Jalen get in his head. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Old man Jalen can't run anymore or cover. But it happened. And Kyle Duggar was there, and that impacted him. But I think overall skill sets, and that's where Greg's looking at it. He's like, oh, well, Kyle can do a lot of what Jordan did. But when we did the tail of the tape, it's overwhelming that Jordan was far more productive last year, to Marisa's point. And so I think it comes down to this. Jordan, work your behind off. It's June 24th. Work your behind off between now and July 29th, the first day of practice. And if you show up and you're dialed in and you're doing everything right between now and then there's no reason to think that you wouldn't be able to not just start, but get paid next offseason. Mm-hmm. But if he's not ready to go, if he's not ready to take that next step, if he does leave the door open, well, Kyle Duggar's back is against the wall. You're right. He's in year 7, and now he's bounced around. He's been on multiple teams. He's got to reprove himself. But that also means that he's all in on reproving himself. I'm sure of it. I haven't talked to him. I'm sure that's his mindset. And he probably signed here partially because he was like, I'm going to get snaps regardless. And so it's up to Jordan Battle to not make that a competition. Could it be? Absolutely. But to me, it's not like linebacker in a sense that Jordan Battle's more established. You saw the numbers, 100-plus tackles, 6 turnovers forced, all those things last year. But if these linebackers go out and they play well in camp, even if they sign someone, those two guys are going to start, Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight. I think it's the same thing here for Battle. He might have a little bit more equity, but not a ton more, where it's very, very simple. You show up, you play well, you're going to start alongside Brian Cook. If you don't, you leave that door open. Kyle Duggar's probably motivated, and a film expert that watches the film thinks that you're similar to a guy like Kyle Duggar who's bounced around a bit. So if you don't want to bounce around, you want to get a long-term deal, be all in. And if he is, I do think he's going to be productive.
And the other side of that coin that I think maybe works against Duggar in the conversation for him starting at safety is I don't think the Bengals are going to have a tough time getting him on the field in terms of other positions if Battle is the starting safety. Last season, 270 snaps in the box, 418 at free safety, 70 at slot corner. He played everywhere, and he did it at a relatively even level. I'm not going to say he was elite at much of it in his 7th year in the NFL, but he did it all well enough. And I think that's something that the Bengals needed this year, is one of those pieces, one of those chess pieces you can move around the defense that can help you in multiple places. I think Kyle Duggar is going to help the linebacking room quite a bit in terms of what he's going to be able to do there, especially from a coverage sense in the box. So I think Kyle Duggar is going to be on the field a ton. I just don't think it's going to be listed as the starting safety next to Brian Cook.
Agreed. I think Duggar is going to bring massive value to this team. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be that depth piece, a veteran presence, in that defensive room. The upside and ceiling for Jordan Battle is just so much higher. And if Battle can get to what we saw in 2023 and know what he's capable of, those flashes we saw in his rookie season, that's the Jordan Battle I want to see. And to your point, work your tail off, come into camp ready to go, and leave no question about who the 2 starting safeties are.
I'll go back even further. I mean, I watched Jordan Battle for multiple years in Tuscaloosa be a captain of a team, be a dominant safety.
You went to Bama?
I did.
Oh.
Overlapped with a guy who I was really excited to be drafted here because he was so dominant and a leader in the locker room and someone you could rely on week in and week out at the safety position of a defense that was loaded with stars. He was a name who was right at the top of that for those Alabama teams. So the fact that it has been so rocky at times for Battle was shocking to me, but I've also seen that peak, like a lot of us have, in terms of those plays that he can make, and he's done it in a Bengals uniform. The highs have been really high.
No doubt.
Now, the lows are there too, and that's why the conversation exists. But those peaks, if you can get more of those, Battle can be a really special player for this defense.
And I think that's it, is the upside element of it. It feels like it's there. The high-end play is there. It's just the lows have stunk. Mm-hmm. And you have to get rid of the lows. The peaks and valleys thing with Nick Crawl, I don't want to eliminate the peaks, but I certainly want to eliminate the valleys and the missed tackles and the inconsistencies. And I always compare Jordan Battle to Von Bell because when they were describing him after they picked him, it sounded like Von Bell clone. Well, Von Bell got really good in his best years. We're on that second deal. Well, this is where he needs to say, all right, I need to be that guy. And it would be kind of ironic if Jordan Battle plays like Von Bell, becomes Jordan Bell. We'll tie it all together. Because that's kind of how it felt like what they were doing, that they were replacing him. He needs to be part of that stability, that force on the back end that it's going to be a constant presence. You never really doubted Jesse Bates and Von Bell on the back end in 21 and 22. That's how we need to feel about Battle and Brian Cook.
It's what this team needs, is that consistency. Exactly. There was never a worry in 21 and 22 when you had that core safeties play, and this is what that defense has been missing. I've said so many times how the Bengals were like a Jesse Bates away the last couple of years of having that consistent, just presence, in the back end there that you just really didn't have to worry about. And exactly, if Brian Cook and Jordan Battle can get anywhere close to what Von Bell and Jesse Bates were, I think this defense is going to be just fine.
Absolutely, and I think the exciting thing about both of them back there is obviously a huge upgrade on the safety opposite of Jordan Battle in terms of Brian Cook and what he brings to this team. We've talked about him a lot this summer, but the corners are going to be as good as the corners have been in quite some time here going into a season. I mean, DJ Turner, we talked about what he did last year, should have been an All-Pro, should have been a Pro Bowler. Everyone in this city knows that, and hopefully after this season, everyone outside of the city will know that. But he wasn't even a starter going into week 1 last year, at least not guaranteed. So the conversation shifts from that to now what him and Dax Hill are viewed as the outside corners on this team, I think changes a lot. And secondary's best friend is the pass rush. And the Bengals pass rush has taken a massive step this year as well with the depth on the interior defensive line and the bodies that are able to be rotated at the edge rusher position. So in terms of battle, a guy who's always had a knack for the football and goes and makes those big time plays, he's going to have a bigger ability to do that this year, I feel like. More leniency in the defense because there's so much more confidence in the other 10 people doing their jobs on a play-in, play-out basis.
Yeah, he's playing for a lot of money. There's a lot on the line for Jordan Battle. It is interesting, though, that Greg Cosell mentions that. It just keep it in the back of your mind, certainly with training camp just over 5 weeks away. Up next, it is schedule game time. Will Jordan Battle get in the way of Jacob Tissot's schedule game? We'll dive into that and make, well, at least Tissot's prediction for the 2026 Cincinnati Bengals next, right here on First Word.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
They wouldn't be one of the first 10 teams I listed to win this year's Super Bowl, and they have not been anywhere close in the last 3 seasons that have been played. It is surprising to me how much staying power that one win against the Chiefs has had.
All right, worst word. And here's why it's the worst word. 1, put your fandom away. Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs fandom is nonsense. 2, this idea, Jets, Raiders, Titans, Cardinals, Giants, Falcons, Colts, Saints. If Drew Brees was playing in his prime for the Saints right now, guess what? Then you could compare the Bengals to the Saints. You're comparing all these teams that are hoping, praying, and may all be in on Brendan Sorsby, right? Outside of maybe the Raiders with Mendoza or whoever they had. But my point is none of them have a franchise quarterback. The Bengals not only have a franchise quarterback, they have a guy that Nick Wright apparently likes. No chance do you actually like Joe Burrow, because if you like Joe Burrow, you'd be aware that going head-to-head against your guy Mahomes, he's won more than he's lost. And that's it, is Joe Burrow going up against Josh Allen, Mahomes, insert whoever else you want. He's either won or going to have a really good chance of winning regardless of the defense, which you praised. And I think that's it. Why are all these shows talking about Joe Burrow? Because he is one of the best on the planet. Have they had some down years? Absolutely. But you can't deny that. You can't deny that Joe Burrow is in that conversation with all these other guys. And so, like today, who are you taking? Patrick Mahomes coming off of a torn ACL? Did you watch Mahomes last year? Joe Burrow, when he was out there, was better than Mahomes was last year. I know Burrow has the health issue, fine. So you could say, yeah, the Bengals are really good, but Joe needs to stay healthy. Well, everybody knows that. This argument that they're one of 3 teams and then comparing them to the Falcons and all of these other, quite frankly, losers that can't figure out quarterback is unfair, because the Bengals have Joe Burrow and they don't, and sometimes it is that simple. is schedule game time here on First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot and Marisa Contipelli. And boy, oh boy, we round out the desk here today. I've done the schedule game. Marissa's done the schedule game. It is almost time for Jacob to do the schedule game. And just a reminder, we will post all three on our YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button, join the First Word movement, and the 6,000 plus Bengals fans. And honestly, hundreds of thousands of Bengals fans and Cincinnati sports fans that have watched us over the past few weeks.
Yeah, one-stop shop. Everything you need at the First Word YouTube. So make sure you subscribe and join us in the chat. The chat's a good time during the live show.
The chat is always fun during the live show. And this is what's going to be fun, because I've waited to put out the schedule games until all three of us did them. The response, because I'm sure you're like, well, what was Marissa's? Well, we'll post that later this week. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure fans are going to be eager to watch mine again.
2-15 is crazy.
I know.
I can't believe she did.
I like the additions on
What do you mean?
defense.
0-17. Yeah.
Well, tanking for Jeremiah.
You know who the best player in the draft was? Jeremiah Love.
Oh, you've been waiting like weeks to say that again, haven't you?
It hurts.
It's been a while.
It hurts. Arizona buried.
It's a tough one.
That's a cuff to the Kings. Like, it's very much.
We'll get into
love
the
to
NBA draft in a bit.
Brutal. Anyways, let's dive into Jacob's schedule game. Make your picks, my man.
I wanted to have the Bengals break the franchise record. I really did, and they might. So going through so far, it starts off ugly. It starts off ugly with 0-2, and that's just the reality of the situation. The Bengals start slow a lot. The Tampa Bay Bucks have some weapons, exciting pieces on their team, and it's going to be a loss in week one. It's tough to swallow. And the Texans have one of the most exciting defenses in the league. I think that's a tough one on the road.
Glad we're aligned there on the side of the desk.
This is ridiculous.
Then the Bengals take a lead. 3 wins in a row gives you a 3-2 record there, 3-2 record there going into the bye, and then rounding out that first column, it gets ugly again with a loss to the Ravens, and then 2 more wins, including a win in Madrid, before the primetime slate truly begins on November 15th against the Steelers. So starting off on that left side, it's a pretty tough start to the schedule. Bengals pick up some losses early, but you're in a decent spot rolling into that second column.
Yeah, I guess. The 0-2 start, man.
It's tough to swallow.
What are you doing, man? What are you doing? What are you both doing over there?
Look, the contract stuff in Tampa made me almost change that one. Almost. But not quite. The Bengals have proven time and time again that they're going to start slow, and they're not going to look like the final versions of themselves in week one. And if they're wearing all orange, they'll certainly lose. So as long as the Bucks come in and play a relatively good game, I think the Bengals probably lose a close one there.
And I will say it, I would love for them to prove me wrong, but I am with Jacob on this one. And then, like you said, Houston has a good defense. First road game, Houston really good at home last year.
Yeah.
Gabe, clip this. Aaron, clip it twice. This idea over here of the desk, 0-2. We will make a wager much, much closer to the season. There's 0 chance they start 0-2.
0 chance.
0.
Do you think I will be betting on the Buccaneers in week one? No, I simply think they're going to win.
And I'm telling you they're not going to win.
I hope you're right.
And if that does happen, then Joe and the Bengals are going to go kick the snot out of the Texans and that defense that's so good. Clip it. That's why I want you to clip that part. Because everyone's scared of the Texans, and I picked them to lose to the Texans. But I ain't scared of them. If they're 0-1, then they're going to go to Houston and handle business.
Hope you're right. That would certainly be great. No 0-2 start would have me freaking out a little bit over here.
A little.
A little bit. Not a lot.
No, you would be a lot freaking
well,
out.
No, I was going to say a little bit at 0-2, and then 3-3 is when I would really be freaking out. A 3-3 record there would be even worse than 0-2, I think.
All right, well, let's see what the second half of your schedule
Rolling into the second half after Madrid. Gets tough for the Bengals. A lot of primetime games loaded up there in the back half of the schedule, and coming back from Madrid, take a tough loss to the Steelers in primetime. That's going to be a really brutal game to come back, no bye after Madrid, and then you lose again to the Commanders. It's a tough back-to-back stretch there in primetime, but the Bengals and Joe Burrow do what we know the Bengals and Joe Burrow can do, and that's round this season out with a nice old win streak.
Oh.
What?
7
1, 2,
straight
3,
to end
4,
the year.
5, 6, 7. All right.
Well, the best part about this one is that Browns
Write the total.
that
man.
Browns win at the bottom. That's
Yep.
Joe Flacco.
Oh, 12-5. Oh man, I need you to.
Whew,
write
that
more.
dash was
Look at-
brutal.
Yeah, that dash was
12-5 for the Bengals. 1 win away from the franchise record.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that. You know what? If they do that win streak at the end and you're right after week 3, they'll get the record because they're not starting 0-2.
I hope so.
I think the streak for 2 months is a bit wild.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I think it's feasible. That back half of the schedule is relatively easy after you get through those primetime games. They're going to be favored in every single one of those games. Maybe the Chiefs win, depending on what happens by the time we get there. That's a very, very close spread right now. But Saints, Browns, Panthers, Colts, Browns again. I can't even really talk myself into them losing those games if they play good Bengals football at that point in the season, which they usually do towards the end. So they're significantly better than a lot of those teams. I think a lot of the coin flip games early I gave to the other team out of a vote of fairness there to not give the Bengals 17-0. That would have been a little bit crazy, but I think 12-5 is a nice middle ground here.
A nice middle ground, 7 straight to end the season. What are your takeaways from that 12-5 schedule game for Jacob?
I like it. 12-5 would
There
be
we
a great
go.
record. We're very aligned on the first half. I see a hard time winning 7 straight, though. I mean, obviously the Bengals have done it before. Joe's so strong in November and December, but even so, I mean, I feel like one of those games and there's going to be a
Joe's
trap
only
game.
winning 6 straight. They lock up the division after
There's
they beat
another
the
Joe coming
Ravens, and
in.
then Flacco gets it done.
Yeah. Lock up the division with 2 seed?
Yeah.
2 seed at 12-5. Interesting.
Take it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 12-5, you take it and you run.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, 0-2, we're going to be limping hard if that's the case.
Yeah, I'd be real sad.
Yeah,
Real sad.
No chance. Clip it again. No chance to start 0-2. All right, that is the schedule game. We'll post all of those if you're just joining us on our YouTube channel, First Word Cincy. Up next, we'll continue the football conversation as we roll on right here on First Word.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
We welcome you from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Nick had with the fan favorite to put it away. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Oh, what a catch. The Cincinnati Reds score. What a possession. Elly De La Cruz scores and the Reds win.
What's your weirdest pregame superstition, routine, or habit?
Okay, so before like our team warm up, I go out to warm up like myself, and I'll have my headphones in, and I'll start at the goal line, and I'll walk to the 30-yard line and back. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day, but sometimes I'll do it 5 times, sometimes I'll do it 15, sometimes I'll do it 35 times. Like I don't even know like why I do it. I think it's like getting like a feel for the atmosphere, feel for my cleats. But like the number, like it's different every single time. So I don't know. I do it every single game. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason. I don't even know when it started. But it's just like I just walk back and forth. I'm not stretching. I'm just walking. So I'll say that's probably like my weirdest superstition.
Would you rather play offense for a game or coach for a game?
Offense for a game. That was like my natural position growing up. I was a running back and a receiver. Then I got switched to linebacker, and I wanted to quit football my freshman year of high school. So I feel like that offensive, mind is still in my body somewhere deep down there. But also coaching it seems a little stressful. So I'm like, yeah, I'd rather just be on offense and give me the ball.
What is one thing that you are irrationally competitive about?
Pickleball. Oh my gosh. I actually just played it like last night. That is if I'm not working out like for football or training or doing some type of stuff football related, I am at the pickleball on the pickleball court or playing golf. Those are like my two things. But I would say pickleball. That's my thing.
Which one of your teammates talks the most trash in practice?
Oh yeah, Uno, Jamar. He does not. I love him, but he does not shut up, and but it makes.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Will the Cincinnati Reds avoid the sweep? We'll dive into Reds here for the Reds. We'll dive into that and hear from Hunter Green in just a second. Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And 7 to 11 is 4 hours. It's the number of runs the Reds have given up in 2 games against the Brewers.
Yeah.
And they have a whopping 2 losses to show for it.
Yeah, you said, will the Reds be able to get a win tonight? I hope so. Will the Reds be able to score in regulation tonight? Only 1 run over the last 2 games, and it was the Manfred runner in the 10th inning on Monday, or on the first game of this series. So it's been an uphill battle offensively for this Reds team. Double-digit strikeouts for both Woodruff and Sprout last night. It's been a nightmare at the plate for the Reds right now, and hopefully they can figure it out today.
If you had told me that this team was going to hold the Brewers to 4 combined runs through the first 2 games of the season, I thought at worst they would be 1-1. And now here we are looking to hopefully avoid a series sweep this evening. But yeah, pitching has been great, have gotten to extremely quality starts. By the starters here, it's just this offense, man, the lineup. 1 through 4 hitters combined, 1 for 28 through the first 2 games. And like you said, 2 straight nights now where this offensive lineup has had 2 hits and 13 Ks.
And I wish we could spend more time on the pitching. Brady Singer with his best start of the year, maybe the best start for any Reds pitcher of the year. Lodolo, before he takes the comebacker off his wrist last night, looked awesome. Was mowing hitters down like vintage Nick Lodolo. And then bad luck for the Reds, which seems to be the theme of the season so far.
He faced the minimum through 4.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah, we will hear from Nick Lodolo coming up in a bit. The latest on his wrist injury, one that he pitched through, finished the 4th inning, and then left the game. And it's really, really unfortunate because it feels like, oh, well, maybe he'll be back, maybe he won't. But he was just getting healthy. He was pitching maybe his best outing of the year, and the Reds were in it against the first-place Brewers. And unfortunately, the bats didn't show up. There is some good news. Get some optimism in here. Because they should have at least won one of these games, to Marissa's point. And ideally, both of these games, giving up just 4 runs. Regardless, though, getting Hunter Green back would be huge. He went 4 innings in AAA Louisville on Tuesday night, and scoreless innings, looked good, looked like Hunter Green. Here's what he had to say with reporters after pitching 4 innings in Louisville.
Well, Hunter, how did you feel out there today?
Felt great, felt strong. Felt really good with all of my pitches, felt consistent. Felt like I was constantly in the attack mode, which is good, and felt like I was ready to go and compete today.
What is it about this rehab start that you were looking to feel good about heading back into the majors?
Yeah, it's really just feel of pitches. I think the most important thing coming back with rehab is getting into that competitive mode and being able to flip that switch. Especially in rehab, you can get really internal. You can think, is my elbow going to feel good? Is my knee going to feel good? Back, whatever it may be. but you lose sight of like that external focus of I'm just trying to attack the hitters. So other than feeling good and my pitches feeling good, that was my main objective, was to make sure I was fully present and attacking from the first pitch to the very last.
So much of rehab is a mental game too, as much as it is physical when you're trying to get back out there and get back in peak forms. What have you maybe learned about yourself throughout this process as you try and get back to Cincinnati?
I'm continuing to tinker with my routine and make adjustments, and obviously not reinvent the wheel, but being a professional, body continues to change, demand of the game changes, and you got to be able to make adjustments to continue to stay ahead of the game and not just compete but also dominate. So I think it's just continuing to refine my routine and make sure everything is, I'm checking all those boxes to make sure I'm at my best when I get out there.
Now that it's over, how are you feeling on a scale of like 1 to 100? How close are you to being back?
100.
Threw you off, sorry.
I mean, coming off the field today, I definitely felt like I was ready to go. I feel like I can go pitch in Cincinnati. I always like to be able to take my rehab starts and do my due diligence with that and make sure I'm checking all the boxes, because when we get back up there, it's full go. It's the best of the best hitters. It's a quick game, and I got to be at my best. So I felt good. I feel good now, and I got one more to go.
Have you had any communication with the Reds organization about a timetable of when you might be able to come back, or is it just on
I just have one more game.
One more game?
Yeah, Sunday.
There's Hunter Green, 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, scoreless, which is great. The 3 strikeouts, that video courtesy of our friends at Fox 19. Ended up throwing 54 pitches, 36 strikes, but overall, a really successful first AAA appearance for Hunter Green as he makes his way back from surgery.
And as encouraging as you could hope for. A great start at the ACL Reds earlier this week or over the weekend, and then a great appearance for Louisville in AAA. I would expect another 1, maybe 2 for Hunter in Louisville before he's ready to join the big league club, just to get everything back and rolling. He's been out for a long time now, obviously with an elbow injury. Can't throw while you're on the injured list, so he's just now getting back into a lot of this stuff. It's going to be huge to add into the team, and you said it right there, is the biggest thing. He looks like Hunter Green. He was getting the whiffs last night on multiple pitches. He had the stuff. All the advanced metrics love the way it's coming out of his hand right now, and I think this staff is going to be the strength of this team if they're going to get any kind of consistent winning going throughout this summer. And obviously the offense has been the struggle against the Brewers in this series, but when you add Hunter Green to this rotation, it's potentially one of the best rotations in all of baseball.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. And that's what stinks about what we're about to get to.
Yeah.
Because it feels like all year it's been, all right, well, when Hunter Green comes back, and can you imagine Hunter Green and Chase Burns and Nick Lodolo with the blister, he's going to come back and it's going to be great, and Brady Singer's going to start pitching better. And a lot of those things have happened. The rotation has come around. Andrew Abbott, totally forgot about his April struggles because he's been awesome since May 1. He's been one of the bright spots. The thing to me that for some reason is happening right now, and hopefully it isn't serious, but Nick Lodolo taking that comebacker off of his throwing wrist. He's dealing with a wrist contusion is what they said. He finished that inning. But if he misses any time, and the x-rays were negative, but I guarantee you when you watch this comeback, it is so much more sore today than it was last night when he was talking with reporters, and we'll hear from him in a second. I'm hoping that this doesn't cause him to miss a couple of starts, because in a perfect world post-All-Star break, you're talking about Hunter Green, Chase Burns, even with the innings limit, you're having Chase Burns in the mix, Nick Lodolo, Brady Singer actually singing like he has, and All-Star Andrew Abbott pitching like he did last year when he was an All-Star.
Yeah, and Nick Lodolo, very fortunate to have those x-rays come back negative and nothing broken, in his hand or wrist there, because it was 107 miles per hour exit velocity on that batted ball. It feels like Nick Lodolo is so unlucky with some of these, weird injuries that have popped up, and doesn't expect to miss a start. Really hope that's going to be the case.
The thing that we were monitoring going into yesterday was how he was holding the ball. Right. Does he trust it? Because of the blister issues he's had for multiple seasons now, it caused him to miss time earlier this year. It felt like it. He had the 6 strikeouts. Yeah. It felt like he had figured it out. And hopefully he doesn't miss a start, because it feels like he was building on something with that start yesterday through the first 4 innings. Was able to finish the inning. Obviously didn't go back in the game. The Reds bullpen held it down. The bats didn't show up. But the latest on Nick Lodolo, here's what he had to say in the clubhouse afterward.
And just went like totally numb because I was thinking about going to pick up the ball and I couldn't feel my hand. So yeah, never been hit like that in the wrist. So yeah.
Terry mentioned you wanted to keep going. How did you take that decision ultimately from him?
Yeah, I mean, I know where he was coming from. I wanted to keep going for sure, but you know, I was glad I got to finish the inning at least. But yeah, when I came in, yeah, he was pretty adamant that I wasn't going back out.
How were you able to get out of that inning?
Honestly, I kind of just blacked out. Yeah, made some good pitches. You know, I think I got 2 strikeouts there, and you know, those were pretty big. And then yeah, just kind of came back on Sanchez there, and not in a great spot with him up there, but yeah, got out of it.
I know you've never been through this before. What do you foresee the next few days to be, and do you think you can make it next time out?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. If there's nothing wrong with it, other than just some swelling and stuff like that. So, just, you know, I think the plan is to get that out of there and go from there.
Where exactly did it get you?
Like right on like the bone on like the side of my wrist. Yeah.
Disappointment. You obviously were having a good start. You know, you faced the minimum until the 4th inning. You were trucking along. Do you feel pretty good going into the inning?
Yeah, felt great. Been working this week a lot with Oscar and Tracy on some mechanical things to get back to where I want to be. And I felt like today was definitely a step in the right direction with that. So we just got to keep working with that and pick it back up.
Nick Lodolo hopes to pitch and not miss a start. We'll see if that's the case. I just know how this works. It's one thing on the night of the injury to be like, oh yeah, I think I'm going to be okay. I really wonder how it's feeling today.
Well, I was so excited to talk about this Reds rotation getting healthy and how strong it could be with Hunter coming back from his rehab start and Lodolo coming into form now and all these guys really surging at the right time. Abbott and Singer have been great for a month now. And then this happens last night. The Reds, for the first time this season, you could actually imagine them having all of those pitchers healthy at the same time. And then Lodolo takes the comebacker. And I think the biggest thing, you said it right there, about this rotation is Burns has been dominant this year. But that innings limit is looming. He has never crossed 100 innings pitched in his career at any level. And he is closing in on it now, already over 80. And I think the thing with Lodolo's injury that I immediately thought of was, there are 6 arms worthy of being a starting pitcher for the Reds if Hunter Green comes back and Lodolo is healthy at the same time. You go Green, Burns, Abbott, Lauder, Singer, and Lodolo. And I think if those 6 arms are all people you have faith in, then you could space Chase Burns out a lot more and not sit him on the bench and not take starts away, but rather just spread them out a little bit more with a 6th arm to get that innings limit pushed back as far as possible and keep having pitchers you believe in on the mound. We know the lineup's not going to be good enough to win games offensively or win a lot of games offensively. It's going to have to be driven by the defense and the pitching staff. That partially could be part of the reason why Elly played shortstop last night, inexplicably, coming back from the injured list from a few weeks, is they think his defense, runs are going to be at a premium, and his defense could stop the Brewers from scoring a couple runs. Maybe that wasn't the case last night. The pitching did their job without needing the guys behind them. But I think as the rotation gets stronger and healthier, the ability to space Burns out and keep your best players on the field for as long as possible is something the Reds need to really look at.
Yeah, for sure. And that would be the way this becomes a strength, and they can hang their hat on, hey, our starting pitching is going to keep us in every game.
Yes.
Because we know the bullpen is never going to be the league's best bullpen or the best bullpen in the Central. Rotation might be.
Yeah.
Rotation might be able to keep them in games. They're not going to be the best hitting team, clearly, over the past 2 games. If there's one thing that can get them back into this at 37-41, it's their starting pitching. Ironically, it's the thing that's failed them in the first 2 games of the series. We'll see tonight if they can find a way to get a series or a win in this series against the Brewers. And it's a guy in Rhett Lauder who, again, health. That ERA looks pretty rough right now. Part of that has to do with this health and what it looked like right before his stint on the injured list, what it's looked like since he's been back, especially that first outing he had. But overall, this Reds team, they need Rhett Lauder to show up. They need their starting pitching to do what they've done really since Game 2 of that Yankees series, because the past 4 or 5 games, it has felt like it's coming together. And you look at some of the bigger sample sizes, it fits, but Lauder needs to do his job tonight.
He does, and that's why I'm excited to see him on the mound. This will be his 4th start since returning back from that injury, and it was a bit of a rough go last Friday against the Yankees. Went 5 1/3, had given up the 6 hits, the 4 earned runs, and 3 walks. So really hoping he can bounce back from that, because the start before then went 5 2/3 with just 5 hits and 1 earned run in that outing. So hopefully see a little bit more command there with Lauder tonight, because they're going to need him to avoid a home series sweep, because they haven't been swept at home since August of 2020. 2024.
Wow. Yeah, and not a great line, obviously, in that let's start for Louder, but it was 2 home runs in the second inning in a game where the Reds struck out 18 times offensively. He got through after that second and went now 3 1/3 without allowing many base runners after that, and it's a hard hill to climb if you're on the mound and you just watch the Reds strike out after strikeout after strikeout. You got to go back out there and pitch again. So I do give him a little bit of credit for buckling back down and getting through 5 1/3 after a very, very rough second. But you remove those home runs, you go back at that last start, 5 2/3, 1 run allowed. I think Rhett Louder is getting really close to the version we saw his rookie season, which was a below 2 ERA guy. And he's right on that precipice. And once he locks it in, he's a guy we're going to be talking about potentially in the top of this rotation as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. That's the high-end optimistic potential, is that all of this happens. In reality, someone else is going to get hurt. Something's going to happen. That's what it's going to say. Maybe Hunter has a speed bump, or what Nick Lodolo went through yesterday. Maybe that happens. The good news is they're pulling from depth there, and they have depth there. They need the bats. The fact that you were like, yeah, Rhett Louder gave up the 2 home runs, and they had 18 strikeouts. Should be impossible. And yet that's been the theme of the Brewer series. It was the theme of Game 1 against the Yankees. We will see if they get it done. We'll have our predictions for Reds Brewers Game 3 and much, much more in our Cincy Sports Forecast coming up next right here on First Word.
Emotionally, spiritually, like, I love football till the death of me. Like, this is, I don't say it's what I feel like it is what I'm called to do. But last year it was hard. It was extremely hard. Like, it was days where, like I said, like, I'm in the building at 6 a.m. drawing up plays, preparing for the Miami Dolphins because they have a really complex offense. I'm just like, dang, I cannot figure this out. Because like they do a lot of stuff with their fullbacks, and like I said, I've never seen a fullback in my life up until last year. So last year was the hardest year of my life. But thinking about like where I am right now, it's, like I said, it's night and day. But like I'm so confident because of what I went through last year. And like, I would go home like last year, I'm just like, dang, like this is tough. But like, I'm trying to be a leader. I'm obviously not trying to show that to the guys, like, because I love playing football. I love where I am. I love being in Cincinnati. I love the guys that I get to go to work with. But it was a long year, and I just try to show up every single day with the right mindset and, you know, be the leader that I was brought here to be. And but it was a tough year. But thinking about this year, oh my gosh, I literally. I have a smile on my face the whole time I'm in the building. Like, and that's gonna, I know it's easy to say in June, but I'm gonna have that until February. Truly, like, I'm so confident this year, so much more confident. So it's gonna be fun. Still have a long way to go, but you know, we're trending in the right direction.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. First word, rolling on hump day. Welcome back on a Wednesday. Plenty to dive into here in our Cincy sports forecast as the World Cup rolls on. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. Marisa, well, your countdown is officially on. Tick, tick, tick. Let's dive into the World Cup.
Let's dive into the world. What a segue. Yeah, World Cup. And we're getting into the exciting stages of group play where we now get 6 matches per day compared to the 4 that we had been treated to. A little changing as decision week is upon us. A massive one coming up this afternoon in Group B, Switzerland and Canada. Canada wins the group with a win or draw. Switzerland wins with a win and advances with a draw. Canada right now holding a +3 goal differential there. So a lot on the line when it comes into the Group B scenarios. All teams will play at the same time. They're going to be kicking off at 3 p.m. Looking at Group C, you have Morocco and Haiti, Scotland and Brazil. A lot of scenarios here, a lot on the line for all of the teams right there in Group C. It's a very close one. For those teams looking at Group A next, South Africa, South Korea going to be squaring off, and then Czechia and Mexico. Mexico has already clinched first place in their group, but Czechia will be eliminated with a loss there. Here is a look at all the groups now for the World Cup. As you can see, a handful of teams with the X next to them have already clinched and advanced to the round of 16, which will be coming up shortly. And then, of course, the U.S., even though they have already clinched and advanced, do play tomorrow evening against Turkey. That will be a late one, though, 10 p.m. for the U.S.
Are you going?
I am not going, unfortunately.
I
wish I was.
I was just throwing it out there. Don't laugh.
It
could have been the case.
Where is it?
It's in LA.
Seattle again? Oh, LA?
Yeah.
That's the best stadium for the World Cup so far.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
just
SoFi's great. No, SoFi's been great. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
But Lumen, Seattle Stadium, is built for soccer. It looks great for it. I love seeing that game there.
It can be Lumen. Those rules are so odd.
Google it. See what it says.
At Lumen Field?
It says Seattle Stadium.
Isn't it Lumen Field normally? Or is it Stadium?
I don't know.
Stadium? Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I know it's
not
Lumen.
sure.
Yeah, either way. Doesn't matter. You know what we do know? USA advanced. So that's what we do know, regardless of what happens tomorrow night. That's a good place to certainly be. Baba Miller in the NBA draft, well, he's hoping to be somewhere in the 30s, wherever it is, the NBA draft round 2 tonight. Former University of Cincinnati star Baba Miller still looking for a destination. I'm thinking it's Marisa's Cavaliers at 34 overall. Give me that. They need a big man.
Welcome to Cleveland.
Yep. Alley-oop. James Harden, he still can do that. He can still throw the oops. So there we go.
Give me another one.
Alley-oop.
Love that. Yeah, no, not the only local tie still on the board, though. A couple transfers out of Xavier and UC still there, still on the top of the best available here. Ryan Conwell right below Baba Miller on the best available list right now, the ex-Musketeer. And then down a little bit further, Dylan Mitchell, 10th best available player, Bearcats legend, obviously, now over at St. John's for this last season with Rick Pitino.
Pain.
I thought he was going to be so good.
Yeah, well, hey, he's going to get drafted tonight, most likely. Yeah,
he was awesome, St. John.
And so we'll have you covered tomorrow when it comes to the NBA draft. But let's dive into this Red Series and we led the show off with it. We'll have it on YouTube. But just a reminder, by the way, to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Join the First Word team here on YouTube, where you can catch a bunch of clips, shorts. Erin's working on a short right now. I could see her. Shout out to Erin for handling that. And you can stay connected throughout the day, throughout the weekend. We have content going on our YouTube channel every single day of the week here with First Word. But when it comes to this Cincinnati Reds team, if you would have told me 4 runs going into Game 3, I would have said, man, they've won 3 straight series. They've won 4 straight games. They're back to 500, and we are feeling really good considering Elly's back and Hunter Green is inching his way back. And instead, it's let's see how Lodolo's wrist is, how swollen it is. The Reds can't hit. They have scored 1 run and 0 runs, really, through 9 in either of these games. And they need to avoid a series sweep against the Brewers, despite holding the Brewers to 2 runs in each game.
Yeah, Shane Drohan on the mound for the Brewers today, and over the first two, it hasn't mattered who's been on the mound for the Brewers. You've gotten 6 innings of 10 Ks, no walks, no runs. Both starters, same stat line for the Brewers so far. And then the encouraging thing for Drohan as he's on the mound today is he's only gone longer than 5 innings or longer 3 times this season. Now, granted, those are his last 3 starts, the last 2 at 5 and then 6 1/3 before that, but the rest of his time on the bump this year, it's been short. It's been 2 innings here, 3 innings there, 4 1/3, so I think the Reds have a chance to getting to him early in this one, getting to the Brewers bullpen, which, not like the Reds, the Brewers bullpen is very, very strong, but still always good to get there early in the games. Maybe the Reds are saving their runs from the first 2 for tonight and can get out to an early lead. We know how much that has helped the Reds, and they need to start getting some wins. Down to 11.5 back in the division, 4 back in the wild card. Those numbers keep growing, and at some point they're going to get too big to overcome.
Yeah, and hopefully Rhett Lauder can continue this starting pitching, I want to say magic in a way, because they've been really strong through the first 2 games. Hopefully he can kind of continue that. You look career-wise, only 8 at-bats against current Brewers, but has only given up 1 hit, and that was a couple, games ago. But for this Reds team, I think even though the bats need to come alive, I do think it starts with, Rhett Lauder and getting this team off to a good start and, not, letting up any easy early runs to Milwaukee. And I might be putting too much stock in myself here tonight, guys, but I will be there tonight. It is Suarez bobblehead night. I have a 9-4 overall home record on the season. All right. I think they get the dub and avoid the sweep tonight.
Hope so.
I hope you're right. Jacob, is it good or bad that it's Suarez bobblehead night?
Bad. Real bad.
Real bad. At the beginning of last week, we did Suarez back.
We did. It was like a long time ago.
That feels like 17 years ago.
That's the tough part about a daily show. If you're going to hit 2 home runs on Sunday, you're back on Monday. And if you don't get a hit by Friday...
You declared him back.
Absolutely, and I would again.
But he's not back.
No. Well, not now, but when I declared him back, he was.
It's
amazing how that works.
And that's why he should have his side of the desk.
We should give me a third pizza slice.
The overreaction, ridiculous Jacob fan side, the Triscuit side.
I'm in.
Yeah. It's like
the Triscuit corner.
Correct. It breaks. The Triscuit corner. Sometimes you just got to go in the corner.
Put some cheese on it, put it in the cracker box, and shake it. Right?
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Enjoy some time off.
Thanks.
I'm serious. All right? I was serious. Marissa's going to be gone the next couple of days.
He's spending some time with the family. I will be back on Monday.
We are going to have you covered. Plenty to react to. I have a ton of Bengals stuff to talk
so
about.
Much Bengals
Just
stuff.
crush Jacob for his Bengals takes. But
I can't
we'll be with you back at 7 a.m. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And for Marisa Contipelli, Jacob Tissot, and the entire First Word team here at The Crown, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching and listening to First Word.